Yo, what's up, everyone? Welcome to FSP episode number 89. This is the first show for us for this week. Coming off the heels of the Dev Direct last week, we had a lot of talk about that, and it was a lot of fun and great showcase, I think, from Xbox to show a lot of the games coming this year, or 4 of them at least. And there's more even coming, but we got more stuff to talk about. There's more games coming this week from third-party publishers that are awesome. So looking forward to that. But also this other game, Palworld's been taking the world by storm, breaking records. They just passed 5 million in sales already, which is just a breakneck pace for just a new game like that out of nowhere. So Jasper's already 100%ed it pretty much. Which is insane to me. But we're gonna have some talk about that and also some other stuff as well. But want to thank the chat for being here. Appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you to the audio listeners as well. You all rock, and looking forward to having a blast on the show. But let's get to the intros here. Fuzzy Belvedere, what's up, dude?
What's up, everyone? Glad to be here with you guys. Man, between Palworld selling like hotcakes and people hating on it just because it looks similar to stuff, man, it's just Twitter's weird. And you also got the motion sickness crowd, so we can get into that as well. But
oh yeah, I forgot
glad
about
to be here with you guys. Thanks for everybody in the chat, man. Let's have a good show today.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Thanks, Fuzzy. 3-Bit, how are you, bro?
I'm good, man. I was telling you guys behind the scenes, I went back to my old school and was talking to some college students, talking about career stuff. Like, am I getting that old now where I'm just like, hey kids, I remember when I was like you, I was in your position. Like wow. It was a weird moment because going back to your old school and basically saying stuff like that. So that was pretty cool though. Doing that, playing some Palworld. I'm probably not at all I didn't look up any videos on how to do anything. I'm kind of just
roaming
it's a
around.
pretty
Simple game. You don't need to look up videos.
I needed to ask.
I mean, there's certain things I mean, this is Jasper, so he can't really. I don't know what the heck to do. I'm just like walking around, and I'm just like, I'm still trying to figure out quite a bit. So I probably should play with you guys and just figure some stuff out. But yeah, playing Palworld. Good day. Good to see y'all.
Right on, man. I was playing quite I just got sucked into that game yesterday, bro. Like all day, and then I realized I'm not as far as I should be in this. I don't feel like because everybody else I've seen like streamers or little clips, people posting, and they got all this stuff, and they're like, "What am I doing wrong?" And it's like I can't find some of these things I need.
Building a house is a waste of time. Don't build a house. Fucking put all your workbenches outside. Houses are useless. Don't build a fucking house.
Okay. I already built a house. I spent all my
It turned out I was just being too much of a little bitch, and I wasn't going far enough away from my base, and I just kept coming back too much. So I just needed to explore more. And once I figured that out, it kind of really opened up. I was like, oh wow, there's all this other stuff, and I've been hooked on it, man. It's a fun game. It's not like the craziest best game ever or anything like that, but it is addicting. That's for damn sure.
Yeah.
What about you, Jasper? How have you been living the last couple days in Palworld land?
I've been playing Palworld. Also, I almost finished the first Plague Tale Innocence to pick that up after I beat the second one, so I've almost beat that.
Nice.
Should finish that up tonight, and then it's been Palworld. Almost done with that too. So
it's insane. You were telling me like you had so
I got 2 worlds. I got a level 42 and with me and my friend that we've been playing, and then I got a level 40 in my solo world. So right. I got 90 or I got 80 something caught in my world, and then like 70 something caught in his world of unique Pokemon.
So it's just like insane to me. Yeah, I'm nowhere near that, and
Got to catch them
I'm
all.
like, I think I'm like level 5, like something 6.
yeah, I'm level like 13, I
I'm like
think.
4.
4?
Oh.
Yeah,
Yeah, you
I
all
just
got
started today, so
put some hours in.
I
yeah.
only put about an hour in.
Yeah.
I died several times. For me just trying to attack really big Pokemon. I'm like, I'm gonna kill this guy, and I run up to it, like, what you gotta do about it? And then the guy turns around, and I just die immediately. So it was a lot of that. Why I'm still in the beginning.
I attack
Just
them while they're asleep.
I
yeah.
like I feel like Jasper plays any game really differently than almost all of us, really. So, like if somehow he's able to just beat games at like these crazy paces and stuff like that.
You just don't. There's a lot of meaningless bullshit in games that are just there to take your time away. If you want to beat the game, you got to just beat the game.
But a
Don't
lot of
worry
that stuff is like the game for me. It's like I want to experience the game, not just beat it. Like I don't know. It's interesting. Like when you play Halo and stuff, like you just run past the enemies and shit. And I'm like,
I've already killed 1 billion fucking elites. What's one more gonna do? Just fucking leave him.
you just run past them all, go to the next level. I'm like, oh, but the object of Halo isn't to just run point A to point B. It's to like,
You're right. It's just save the univerce and
yeah,
to do that.
but you're leaving all those assholes alive, so they're still gonna be fucking with everybody when you're gone. They're all still there. You ain't doing shit. You're just running away. What did you do? You just got to the end and just did nothing.
You're
They're
right.
all
Killed their
still
leader.
alive.
I cut the leader's head off, and then it's like now they're useless.
So
they
now
don't
there's
have a
new
command
leader.
structure.
Just because the second man in charge just took control of the leader's position.
He's
So
like,
he's just like, this
I'm-
dumbass just left
You guy
us
in
alone.
charge.
Yeah, so we'll just take I didn't like the leader anyway. I'm the new guy in town. You let Starscream live and take control of the Decepticons. Is
And
what
then
you
when
did.
he starts fucking shit up, then I come for him. He needs to learn his lesson.
They got to make a whole
I
sequel
sent-
for that, and then
I
you're gonna
sent
do.
the
You know what you're gonna do? You're gonna run past all those motherfuckers too until you get to him, and then they'll just be Soundwave will be in charge now.
It'll never finish.
It's never gonna.
never
You're
ending.
just leaving them all alive. You gotta wipe all those motherfuckers off the Halo ring. They all gotta be gone.
Give me back that helmet, Jasper. Give it.
I'm the chief. I don't
I'm the
kill
chief
anything
now.
until I reach a boss.
No, I play pretty much like Jasper. When it comes to Halo specifically, there's something Halo does to my brain where I play competitively and where I play with campaign. Yeah, I understand it. For Halo specifically, like I remember with Halo 1, I was learning like how to speed run and like how to get past certain levels and
Yeah, because there's certain places in Halo 1, like Assault on the Control Room, which is the two snowy bridges. Like that level is so fucking long. It's like a 45-minute level, but you can jump on the bridge and then jump to the second bridge and you cut like 10 minutes off. It saves so much fucking time.
yeah, stuff like that. And Halo 1, I always play like all the Halos on like Legendary too, so that it always kicks my butt. So
Yeah.
it's a
Well, it doesn't
good
kick
time there.
Jasper's butt because he doesn't fight anybody. He just runs to the end on Legendary. So he's interesting. So anyway, this Palworld game's been pretty crazy because I haven't seen a game come out that's like kind of taken the world by storm like this, but also get like a lot of hate for it as well from some devs too. There's even some like PlayStation devs that were like, something's fishy about this game. It's not fair or something like that. They're cheating. And it's like, because they think that they used AI or something to make the game or whatever. But you know what?
Mhm.
Like there's been a lot of talk about, even from Microsoft and other people, about in the future them creating this tech to help devs make things like that. And even if they did use AI or if they didn't, like if it was AI, it did a pretty okay job. But you can't tell me the whole game was made by AI. It just doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
AI is not in that stage. And I was gonna have a whole post about it, but I was like, I'll just talk about it on the show because people are gonna be coming for me. But with AI specifically, I just think about it differently than people. Like art and technology always advances, and every 10, 20 years, like people have to adapt within our
Also,
field.
like I forgot who it was. I saw it today on Twitter. Someone made a good point. Like they had a reveal trailer like 3 years ago the only way this AI or the only reason this AI stuff is in the talks is because that's what's being talked about in the industry now. Like,
Yeah.
they already had these characters, at least some of them made like 3 fucking years ago, and they weren't using AI then, really. So
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, and even if you do, AI is not at a point where you could just press an AI button and then we get all these
Make me
Pokemon-like
game.
models.
Yeah.
Like that's something that's being left out of the conversation. I think the like context where I think people just think like you press the AI button and your models are done. Like I'll just
Yeah.
wait for these 3D models to cook and then I'll be done. That's not.
So what I think they're
I
starting
wish it was like
to
that.
accuse them of now is just taking the models from the other game and then like morphing them and like changing them a little bit. So that's like the latest accusation that some of those devs are trying to make.
Yeah, that's the new claim. But if that is like the next claim, like I've seen what people were talking about. We had like my different takes on it, but it's like if you were to take a lot of different cartoon-ish models, you have to make it a certain way to make it functional. So if you were to trace the vertexes and like let's say the face has to be built a certain way according to that style, right? So if that makes sense, like whenever you're making a face, you actually have to make the face a certain way, otherwise it won't work. So that kind of applies to like lower poly cartoony characters as well. So you really could do that with a lot. That's still not proof to me, considering like how many models I would make in the past that look similar to other models, or maybe I'm inspired by one and it looks very similar to another. Like, it's still not close enough to me. Not to say that these models don't resemble Pokemon. Obviously, a lot of them do. Right? You look at one, you're like, oh yeah, that looks like this Pokemon. Or people had threads on like what Pokemon that looks like. But I think what people can sort of opt for my
honestly,
main
I
thing.
haven't seen anyone complaining. Like, I've seen a lot of people defending it. Like, look, these are too different. But I haven't seen people actually complain that it's like they're too similar.
I've seen
You're lucky you're not following them, or they're
Yeah.
not following you in your
I've seen
thread.
plenty of that, and like
crazy.
there's some devs out there. There's a lot of like Pokemon fans.
I saw the Naughty Dog dev. That's the only thing I saw. But
yeah, but go on through a bit about like.
Yeah, all I was just going to say is like when you are building out models, you have to build it out a certain way in terms of vertexes and stuff. That basically is the polygons inside of a character. So that way, when a character opens his mouth, you don't just see nothing, and it's just like broken. Like if you look at like those different indie games on Steam, where let's say they make a custom model, they don't make it the right way, you will see the inside of that model. You'll see like their arm ripping out if they raise their arm. Usually the armpit is an area, like if you don't close what's called a vertex inside of an armpit, then you'll see inside of the model and outside, and then you get what's called, I'm gonna get really nerdy with my dev talk. You see what's called is a flipped sort of UV map. So there's a lot of that sort of going on, and when they were kind of comparing, like, look, this part is similar in this one, I'm just like, that doesn't really prove anything to me. And even with similar proportions, like tails have to be straight. Like I've seen someone mentioning the fact that the tail on the creature was like similar, and it's like, look, this one is straight and this one is straight, and I'm just like, the tails have to be straight, because usually tails or what they call is like secondary animation, those are usually simulated, or anything that's like wiggly. So you have cloth, you have like something like a tail. Usually that stuff is simulated or it's copied. So you animate it once, because those are annoying as heck to animate. You animate it once, or and then you try to apply that same tail animation to multiple models, because no one wants to animate tails all day. They are actually a pain. That is one of my least favorite things to animate. But or it's simulated. So that is this like little stuff like that who claim they were devs, they're like, hey, look, this is proof. Like, to me, it's still not enough. I did see the proportions on a lot were similar, but to me, that's still not enough on some of them. I'll have to dive a little bit more, but that's what I thought.
And I've seen the other devs come to the defense, like Dinga, I think as you say the last name, like Bakaba, the guy from Arcane, who's making Blade. He had a long thread talking about, like, this was always a parody on Pokemon from that aspect, and they never shied away from that, and it was always supposed to be that. Plus, also, they took these elements from these other kinds of genres, right? Obviously, it's a survival game at its core, right? And then also you have shooting mechanics, all these other things. So for them to like go and basically the gist of what he's trying to say is take all these different components from the different things and try and make it into something that actually works and is playable. It's not simply copying, pasting like a Pokemon thing and saying, oh, here we go, this is just our version of Pokemon. There's a lot to that. And, I think some are actually kind of like taken aback by the amount of success that this game has had, because it has had, it obviously didn't cost as much to make as some of these big AAA games that they spend,
Came out today was like $6.7 million.
6.7, right? Yeah.
Well, if they sold 6 or 5 million copies,
it's $150 million.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
a good profit margin.
Million.
That's a good return, right?
Well, minus the 30% or whatever Steam takes.
Right.
But.
So, but like if you compare that to, like, let's say, like, okay, for example, like a Spider-Man 2 that's like $300 million or whatever, right?
And this budget was nowhere close to it.
And this like way outsells that. Now, obviously, you're getting $70 for like a Spider-Man. You're getting, what, 30 for this, right? But over time, I think this has like I think this thing is going to have legs and keep doing these numbers and stuff, and kind of as long as the devs keep putting work into it and keep evolving it and like addressing things because this isn't game preview, right?
Yeah,
so,
they just put out an update when 3-Bit was talking. I saw the Discord notification. They're fixing the Xbox sound issue. Like, I've been playing on PC, and the sound is like clean, but when you go to Xbox, it sounds like someone recorded the fucking PC sound off of a fucking like iPhone 3G and then put it in the Xbox version. The sound is so bad.
Are you playing on PC Game Pass or are you playing on Steam?
PC Game Pass.
Right. So that sound issue, there's a sound issue still on PC Game Pass also. Like, there's certain times when like certain sound effects just don't happen. Like
so the updates on Xbox or PC?
It's the Xbox platform, so PC and Xbox.
Yeah. Cool. So like if you're like cooking an egg or something, right? Like there was no audio for the cooking and stuff, like it just went dead.
Oh silent. Yeah, I don't cook. Cooking's pointless.
Of course you don't. You don't do anything in the game except for finish it somehow. Like, you don't experience anything in these games except somehow you manage to be at the end of it. I don't fucking understand.
If you want food, all you do is you get a berry plantation, you get the Pokemon that does berries in the water Pokemon, then he puts all the berries in the fucking food container, and then when you need berries, you have 3,000 fucking berries, you just eat like 200 and then you put them back in.
Yeah, I get that, and I have that, but I'm surprised you didn't just say, you don't need the berries. You don't need berries. The berries are a waste of time. It's like, it's so fucking funny, man.
It is funny. Like, that's all I had to say about that. Like, it again, is it like Pokemon? Yes. I never said or am going to say that this is not similar to Pokemon. They're not copying. Like, I can't realistically say that because I'm looking at it, right? I'm clearly seeing there are designs that look similar. But to say that the claim that this game is AI, so somehow they're devoid of skill. First off, their models look better than Pokemon's models. That's to me. Like, when I was looking at Game Freak's models, but it's exactly. It's like their models look better than.
This is also Unreal Engine 5, right?
Yeah.
So
it's Unreal Engine 5. So like. Yeah, so especially when someone modded the Pokemon models into Palworld, I was like, ugh. Some of the mods, it's like, oh, go back, So one thing, yes, did they copy the style of Pokemon? Yes, most likely. Now AI, to say that they're using AI, so somehow they're devoid of skill. I was saying about earlier, there is no press AI button complete everything. if I press this AI button, all the models are done for me. I wish it was like that. We are not there yet. We are not there yet in terms of making AIs create 3D models. There are softwares that are starting to do that where you can use your phone to scan rooms, like 3D rooms, and use that as AI database. So I've started experimenting with stuff like that to scan different environments and all that. But we are not at this stage yet to have a prompt or something to create something from AI, a full 3D model that's playable for a game character. There has to be some sort of back end stuff, like where I could see using AI, which is something I would actually do. Is let's say you have Pokemon as inspiration or something like that, using AI as like some concept sort of stage, like concept art, and then you take that concept art and then you actually have to create the model. Still, you have to look
Right.
at the model, you have to create the textures and stuff for it, but it's still not at a stage.
So this is
To my
some
knowledge,
pretty nerdy dev style talk, and a lot of this will go over
I had
my
to do
head.
it.
No, I appreciate it, but like for those that might try and say like the 3-bit, what about those other things that some of these other people are saying? Could you please just give a little bit of a list of your credentials, right? Because like you were just talking about before the show, right? And we've known you for a long time, but those that don't really know who you are, what your background is with this, and why you are knowledgeable, like if you went back to your college today with the rest of the Aflac team because you are the animator for the actual Aflac duck, right? And to talk about career opportunities to SCAD, right, which is like the premier animation college, if I'm not mistaken, right? I was talking to you about before because my niece kind of wants to go there because she has like interest in that stuff. But you've also done work in video games. You've done
got my SCAD badge back when
Yeah.
I was there.
Yeah. You've worked on Fable. You've worked with Ubisoft. You've worked on some of the showcases for Xbox and also Ubisoft. And you've done animation work for commercials, not just Aflac. You've done stuff for like Holiday Inn and all that kind of stuff, right? Am I missing stuff? You've been in movies,
Auto Trader. I mean, other stuff. A lot of different commercial companies. So
I just say it's
yeah,
safe to say you know what you're talking about, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, a lot of whenever I'm saying stuff is just coming from what I think based on my experience. So I'm not coming from a place like I heard on a gaming forum or something like that. I never really have speculation based on that. Everything I say, I'm like, oh yeah, when I modeled something for Fable, when I modeled something on a Ubisoft game or did anything in the industry already, it's coming from that place. And when I'm modeling all this stuff, or if I'm animating or whatever, they are very stringent upon certain things, making sure your model works, going through reviews and a million different things before it even hits the person. So there's a long process, a long annoying process from when you are in pre-production to it actually hitting. So all I was saying, like, if you like sort of go back in the show, I won't go over my nerdy bits again of like why I think models can look similar or what have you. But what I say is just it's to me it's still not enough with like proportions. Like there's a lot of proportions I could scale similarly from one model to the other model, etc. In terms of vertexes, like a lot of models have to be made a certain way or else it won't work properly. If you have too many vertexes in a model, which means polygons. You remember back in the day, you had Tomb Raider or Lara Croft had really pointy boobs and whatnot. that was
vertexes.
Because vertexes. That's what we had back in the day. We only had a certain amount per console or whatever of vertex that we were allowed to do, polygons. Now we have a little bit more, but you still should make a model a certain way, especially if a mouth is opening. There's certain models that are going to be the same, like similar, the same. So it's still not enough for me. Again, Pokemon is very similar to Palworld. I never said that it wasn't. Obviously there's some inspiration there. There's a lot of inspiration in Palworld from a lot of different things like Arc and things like that. But it's still not enough to just say they ripped it to me. Even looking at those videos where the guy is putting one model inside the other, I could do that with so many other models, and it will like match up. So
Do you
to me,
think
that
the AI thing is a problem because like all the people were like, if we use AI in the gaming industry, we can't play it anymore. So it's like they got to find their line that they can walk with this game.
I don't know. That's a good question.
Yeah, I don't because back when this generation launched, right? Everybody was talking about machine learning, right? All this machine learning stuff, and and then cloud development, and AI is going to help with things in gaming and help with like lighting and all these other kind of things. And then 2K even came out with talking about how they have a new AI thing that was going to be
the fucking
in
lighting
the cloud, and it was going to change how traffic is more realistic in their games and all these other instances, right? And everybody was hyping all these things up, right, with game development aspect. And I'll go even further and talk about the fact that really we've used procedural generation in games for a long time now. Like when we've been playing games that have a lot of procedural generation, and that is an intelligent tool used by developers to create levels for them. That is basically the same thing in a different kind of way, but you're playing a game that is generated a lot of times by technology, not necessarily handcrafted everything, right? You look at a game like a Starfield, it's not possible to handcraft that many fucking planets. You know what I mean? Like they had to develop a system to be able to do that, and that's using some kind of intelligent tools that they build to create that. AI is really just an evolution of these kind of things, right? When you're talking about, hey, try and produce this for me, just maybe trying to be more simplistic in all these kind of ways and evolving to be way more powerful, right? But like, it seems like there's just an overall fear. And I think some of it comes from like all these, I think maybe the dev layoffs, right? This past year and or already this year as well. We've had more layoffs. People are like, we need to save the jobs. We need to save everybody's jobs. No AI, like it's bad. But like, these are things that was championed before. And like, ultimately for me, it's like, that's a thing of the future that's always going to be there. Like that's the way, and it's not just gaming, it's the way a lot of industries are moving, and they're using AI to use tools and stuff. Now we could say it's the end of all or whatever. I don't know like what's going to happen with it, but there's no stopping advancement of that kind of tech, right? And it's going to be utilized, and devs are going to find ways to use AI to help either ease the burden from certain tasks that they have, or to be able to make games bigger and better, even from smaller teams, right? So if this was a small team, being able to create a bigger, better game, even if they did use AI, it shows what that kind of what can be achieved and accomplished from a smaller team by using stuff like that, to where they can compete against bigger studios that have 150, 300, 400 employees all doing different tasks and all this kind of stuff, where they make a solid playable thing. And like, I'm not understanding the whole attack this dev team stuff from either those in the industry or from people in the fan base thing, just trying to say that this game doesn't need to succeed because they're copying this or they're doing this, they're doing that. It's a video game that they did not expect to do this well, right? This developer, they've come out and said this, that they did not expect the game to explode like this. They were expecting it to do okay. They were hoping it was going to do good, right? But they're not expecting 5 million in sales in 3 days.
I think some of that's also just like people, like, because the devs haven't had like the cleanest history. Like they've had some sketch stuff and they've done some weird stuff in the past. Like I think it could be people just trying to like say like, be careful. Like they don't want the people to get burned necessarily.
Yeah, I think they're people referring to the fact that some of the other games didn't leave game previews and didn't get the updates and stuff like that, right?
And they also had like NFT projects in the work and like,
yeah, but that's so did like so many other studios and stuff like that. Like the their industry. I mean, even EA. Like, I was on another show before when we had somebody from EA on, right? And he was talking about the future of video games, and like he was hinting to NFTs, right? A lot of the people in the industry thought things were going to NFTs. 3-Bit made an NFT that sold for freaking a crazy amount of money for a company, right? And he didn't even get a big chunk of that, or I don't know how much he got of it, but like,
I forgot how much it was. I think it was
it's
almost
50.
$500,000 or something.
I don't remember how much, but it was crazy. Like,
I think it was like 250.
yeah, like there was a lot of hype at the time about NFTs. Like, you still have some games maybe still working there, like Certain Affinity's doing an NFT game. You're like, for people to like, oh, they like AI, they like NFTs, all this stuff, they're like shady. That's like Square Enix even like, was it last year? Was like, oh, we're moving into a couple $1 million into NFT stuff. Like,
They said that's why they sold their studios. Like,
yeah,
they
it's
sold their whole
fucking
Western
stupid, bro.
division.
Like, we can argue about, like, obviously we don't think there's a huge future in gaming for that, right? And
Yeah,
because
probably
that whole
not.
market's kind of collapsed. Maybe you could have
They're
a
going
resurgence.
about it
I don't
all
know.
wrong.
Yeah,
I mean,
100%.
like the biggest problem I have with the whole NFT talk is that they're talking about individual things that they're going to sell to you that hopefully you can use in other games if other gaming companies were cooperative. Why can't they just say, hey, the whole game is an NFT. It's a digital property that you now own that you can sell or trade. Like I guess it's the unknown or the elephant in the room that nobody wants to talk about. Like, we have these hundreds, if not thousands, of games in our library, and it's like, what happens when we pass? I mean, yes, morbid talk right now, but like when we pass, it's like your kids aren't allowed per the user agreement to log into your account, so it's not like they can go and play those games legally. Why not just make it so now the game is an NFT? I want to pass it on to my kids, or I want to trade in this game because I'm never going to touch it again. Like Forza Horizon 2 through 4, I'm not going to bother with. 5 and up. I'll play until Horizon 20 is out. Be able to sell it, trade it in, whatever the case may be. That should be the approach. Like, that would get more people on board. Is if we could go to that old thing that Microsoft tried to do in the Xbox One generation, where you'd be able to sell or trade your digital games.
Mm-hmm.
That would be their better approach, as opposed to, oh, sell me this picture of an ape eating a banana. No, I'm not buying that for $2 or 2 cents or a half a nickel. It doesn't matter. It just let me sell my actual digital content, whether it's movies, games, CDs.
That's where I thought they were going
stuff
with
like
it,
that.
which is like why early on I kind of pushed back on the NFT talk, because I'm like, that's kind of cool to be able to own a digital asset and then use it however you kind of want, which is the point of NFTs.
Yeah.
Like, it's basically a digital thing you can own. Like, let's say you in Halo Infinite, they added an NFT. They won't ever do this, but let's say they added an NFT where you had a custom energy sword and only you had this energy sword, and then like you could either sell that energy sword, but that energy sword, no matter what, on your account, that is yours.
I always saw
so-
huge problems with that, the underlying issues that would cause,
And
right?
apparently it's causing issues because
so
it never went anywhere.
I never thought it would, because they focus on the wrong things, and like and I go back to something. This goes back to ideas that were in place. I remember when the 360 was revealed, and they showcased that, and they talked about you being able to make a skateboard design or something, and then you could like sell it. Do you remember that?
Oh
Like,
yeah,
you're
was
gonna
that
be able to
Tony
have your
Hawk?
own. No, it was
Tony Hawk
just like
Ride,
with
or-
it was just like some other random. No, it wasn't even Tony Hawk. It was some random other thing that they created just to kind of like showcase the potential of what the ideas that they had and stuff. And like, they had this ideas way back in the day about being able to create your own content and sell it, or get content and sell it and all this kind of stuff. And like, the industry eventually, like the NFT thing, that was a bunch of big money people kind of really pushing this, right? And I honestly kind of feel like, a lot of the board, it became a hot button thing with a lot of corporations and companies, and like, you probably had like shareholders and boards of directors like, are we getting into NFTs? Like, let's talk about how we can get into NFTs, because like, this is going to be the future. We need to get in on this. And so you had a lot of things kind of like start from lots of different companies, right? Microsoft was one that was like they wanted to wait and see what happens with this thing because they weren't 100% believing in it yet, but this was at the same time when the meta was the meta word was super popular, and like we're gonna live in these digital worlds, and we're all just gonna buy and own property and real estate and sell each other shit all the time and all this kind of stuff. We're buying digital real estate, like all these things, and like I think like it captivated this like the really wealthy and the people. It's like attention to how they could like really capitalize and make even more money in a digital world and all these kind of things, right? Turned out that the reality of the situation of with what them trying to implement felt really forced, right? And it wasn't.
I think the overall problem with it was that everything is like segregated. It's like if you want this NFT, you have to go to this place, or you want that one, you got to go here. This one doesn't carry over here. This one doesn't only over here. It's like if it was all together, it probably would have worked. But it's just like
it was based
too many
on blockchain and crypto, which people were already iffy about because like they all collapse and come back and all these kind of things all the time. And like, what is the actual value of owning an image that's on a digital screen when you could just copy and paste the image? There's a lot of confusing elements and all that kind of stuff there that didn't really make a lot of sense to like the average people. And it's like, I feel like they really did a horrible job trying to come up with ideas to implement that in a realistic, normal way that was going to be palatable to people. And that's number one thing. You actually have to have, besides people craving it for investment purposes, you have to actually have a reason why it's important in the first place, right? And that it never really succeeded with there. And then I think all the NFT stuff is always kind of just like felt like really forced. It felt like a rich company's gimmick to force onto people so they can make more money off of everybody else. And that was always how it came across. And I could see the issues early on when they started talking about this stuff about how, if somebody owns something in a game, well, that's going to be a problem if only one person owns it, because then it's going to become only the wealthy people have all the good stuff in the game, right? And then who's the game for? Nobody wants to play that. Nobody wants to play the stuff where that.
Well, I mean, CS:GO's been doing that for like they sell like $200,000 skins or whatever. It's like
yeah. Well, there's been going on and stuff, and there's like farming that goes on with MMOs and all that kind of stuff too, and all this kind of shit, right? I get that, but like that stuff's already all been there, This was like trying to.
I just felt like it was never well implemented for video games. Like it initially started with it was like a big wave of I forgot the guy's name. He was a popular NFT artist where he was just making a bunch of NFT art like every day, and he would sell his collection for like millions of dollars, and ended up being really big and coming from it. And then video game developers were like, oh, this thing is starting to pop off. How can we use that market for video games? And not a lot of people even had time to implement it, because by the time they started to implement it, NFT pretty much crashed. So I don't think we'll ever fully know what that would have looked like. But yeah, I mean, I agree. I don't think anyone was able to.
There's so many companies and studios and stuff caught up in this, thinking it was going to be a good thing and a big thing that was pushed onto them and stuff. So like, I would never look at like a company that was going to make an NFT game as like a corrupt, horrible company, right? And that's just like the bottom line of it.
A problem with that is like their first game, like they really didn't. I mean, their game is like a step above like a college project. They just bought a bunch of assets, put it in a game engine, was like, ship it, we're done. So then they're like, their next project they announced is like an NFT thing. So it's like, it seemed like they were just trying to flip shit on people initially. I think that's kind of where the overall like sketchiness is like, you just bought a bunch of stuff before, then sold it, and then you're moving on to NFTs, and it's like, now your next game is like, kind of, you made stuff in it, but it's like, did you make stuff in it? It's like, there's AI rumors, so it's like, that's kind of like, they just have like an interesting history where it's like, what did they do?
Yeah. And a lot of the devs are like
skeptical. Stuff been in a UE5 asset type of deal.
I mean, some of it are again like it kind of makes me want to make a clone. Like I'll be right back. I'll make like shoot. But yeah, I mean, a lot of it are UE5 assets. In terms of the animation systems. Now, a lot of it looks custom built. I haven't like dove into like what is what, but I think the animation system, like the locomotion system, might be using some UE5 marketplace stuff. But for the most part, a lot of it seems custom. But I haven't really looked at it. If it is
I was more so
custom, then I haven't.
their first game they used a lot of like.
I'm talking
mods,
about
that's what I said.
Palworld.
Yeah.
But and usually I could spot that stuff right away, but for this one, I don't know.
Yeah. It's
like
a
freaking abandoned. I immediately was like, that's a
I
freaking.
nobody would be
UI5.
talking about this stuff if the game didn't become a huge success, right?
Right.
Like,
True.
again, like this team did not expect this game to blow up like this, right? And now it's like they have the attention of like, what are you doing? What are you? You know what I mean? They were a small team that tried to make a game.
How
That's
are
gonna
you
catch
cheating?
On. Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing that's like, you know, I feel like they caught on to something that I saw some people call this like kind of lightning in a bottle, right? Like, yeah, this is the instance of lightning in a bottle, and like, yeah, the other games are going to now try and copy what they've done. You know what I mean? But can they do that? Because what they've
Shoot, I might
done
try.
is addicting, right? It's engaging. You know, you can have fun with it. It's not for everybody. You know what I mean? But like,
Yeah, the game has so many technical problems, but it's addicting. So you're just like, well, I lost 5 minutes here. I might as well just come back and I can get that back. And
like it's in preview. That's like an early access thing, you know? So it's like, we're going to see what it shapes up to become. I think it's having an impact on the industry, though. Like, with as much talk as there is about this game that kind of came out of nowhere. Again, we said numerous times, like, you never know where the next big thing is going to come from. Will this be a flash in the pan? Will they have continued success? Will they even draw more negative attention over time and it kind of cause a backlash? Or will they continue to grow and become the next big game that's just people play for years and years and years? And if you were to ask me right now, I would guess that that's going to be the case, but we'll see, right? I think it's there. I think they're onto something like, and it's fun, and that's the most important thing, right?
Yeah,
I want to put my idea out there so somebody can copy this or mash
okay,
these
I'm
two
ready,
things
Fuzzy.
together.
Let's go.
Make a Forza and COD mixed game, like heavy metal or not heavy metal, twisted metal with cars. Just go ahead and make a modern day version of that, where you have weapons on the car. You're able to pick up weapons off of other cars you blow up. If your car blows up, you have weapons, and you're pretty much going to have to either catch a ride or steal a ride or something. A little bit of Grand Theft Auto there, I guess, but somebody needs to make that like ASAP, and not that All-Star Destruction All-Stars crap. So let's go.
Okay,
Yeah.
thanks for the idea, Fuzzy. I'll see what I can do.
Yeah, there's a lot of genre mashing that a lot of games do a lot of times. You know what I mean? And kind of come up with stuff.
And I've been clamoring for. I've been really wanting Pokemon to go into this realm where they do like a AAA Pokemon game. And this is just showed people that like this. I don't think this game is anything like Pokemon. After playing it's very much like Arc. This is just an example, but like there are elements in Palworld that I would definitely love in a AAA sort of Pokemon type game.
Everyone
I don't really like
the MMO Pokemon where like you make your trainer, you go out and you find your friend down the road and he's like, oh, he's just catching a Pidgey over in that grass sweater. It's like, hey, what's up? And then like you just kind of carry on with your venture together.
Yeah, you go into like a stadium, have like tournaments or something like that. Like that'd be sick. That's what people have been wanting, but it seems like Game Freak and Nintendo have such a hold on the Pokemon franchise where they're just like, we'll just we got like 5 months. Let's do something with that. And that's what it genuinely feels like when you play a lot of Pokemon games. I don't know if people are gonna hate me after that or what, but those games feel like they've been put together with like some bubble gum and some Band-Aids a lot of the time. So I feel like what this game could potentially do is push them to actually give a crap about the development of a Pokemon game, because I feel like they have not been caring because it just makes money. So they're like, hey, it makes money. It's like the Madden effect.
At the same time, though, like I will say, like Pokemon has changed in the last few years. Like at the start of the Switch generation, we had like those classic games where it's just like, oh, you just do the story or whatever. But then like with the Switch, we actually started getting some open world games. So like there was a part of us that saw was like, oh, they're actually evolving the Pokemon formula. Like
Yeah, the last
with Arceus
one
and
was
stuff.
open world, right?
Yeah, the last couple have been. I think
Okay.
Arceus, Sword and Shield, and Violet. And,
Right.
Yeah.
But people have high expectations when a Pokemon game releases too, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, like there's a lot of franchises like that though that we want to see them evolve and do more with, you know? But then the fans always just eat up the shit that they put out no matter what, you know? Like if for Pokemon, it's because it's Pokemon. And like Palworld is not going to cause any less sales of the next Pokemon game. Like the next Pokemon game
If
that
anything,
comes
it's
out.
probably going to cause more sales because people be like, "Oh, I heard that game was like
Yeah.
Pokemon. Let's see what this is like."
And then Palworld will come out with an update and then kind of do versions of the new Pokemon that they come out with for the new Pokemon game. Right?
Yeah, never-ending cycle.
Yeah, exactly. It's interesting to see this game get this much attention, but like I get why, you know, like it's something that you can invest a lot of time into, and it's crazy that it's, you know, something that Xbox got for, you know, a Game Pass deal before realizing it was going to be this kind of monster, you know. The devs came out and people were saying like, you said it was never going to be on PlayStation or whatever. They said that, well, we said that it wasn't going to come out on PlayStation at the time when people were asking about the launch, and like, but we're not saying it's never going to go to PlayStation, right? Like, how much does Xbox want this to be an exclusive for them, like going forward? Like, I feel like they probably like, because if this game continues to have this kind of success, if they could continue the exclusivity on this for a long period of time, or keep a Game Pass deal going, or whatever, or find a way to acquire the studio, whatever, like they would have to do it. Like this could be the potential like Pokemon on Xbox. You know what I mean? Like if they really went for it. But at this point,
It could be.
if I was the devs, I wouldn't want to sell. I want to see this thing right out and see, because if you sell right now, you may be selling yourself short, you know, because you may be worth, like, imagine like Minecraft sold in the first like week after it came out. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, but,
Or Fortnite. Imagine
yeah,
Fortnite only on one console.
right, exactly. But like you wait years, you know, until like this thing is like one of the biggest things out there. Then you know you're in a different
that's
level.
also the thing is like, I mean, the game could drop off in a month. Like it's still
It
like
could, so that's the risk. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Do you,
That's a risk someone like Sarah Bond would have to make to see, like, does this game have a future? This team is relatively small, so in my opinion, for at least 2 years, this game is just going to be exclusive just because of the predicament that they're in. In terms of Sony not really allowing early
early
play
access.
titles, early access.
also it
sort of
seems like
title.
they weren't really working on active development of this game on PlayStation anyway at the time because
Yeah, they weren't even. They
Yeah.
probably don't even have a PlayStation version. So naturally, it's exclusive just based on what they've done for quite some time. I think for at least a year or two. So with that in mind, I think Sarah Bond and the team just have to sit back and watch. Like, okay, let's see. Let's just keep seeing, because right now it is a major hit. But I don't think it benefits the devs moving right now, and I don't think it benefits Microsoft moving right now. As much as before, when I was like, Microsoft, get them right now. But I think just thinking about it now, it would make sense for both Microsoft and the devs to just sort of like, let's see. The devs, what they need to do is prove to people that they're not a one-trick pony sort of situation, and keep updating the game and see if they can sustain those 5 million plus players. If they can, if it's like the end of the year and people are still talking about Palworld, then yeah, Microsoft should get them. Like,
and usually these type of games, like sequels don't come around like too often. Like usually it's kind of like like their survival games. Like Ark 2 is really the only survival game that's ever really made a sequel I can think of.
Yeah, so I don't think this game would necessarily have a sequel. I think this game would turn into like what the long term goal, right? I'm not talking about
Add some microtransactions, bitch. You want a green shirt? Here you go. Get a green shirt, $10.99.
You look at what Minecraft started as, right? As a survival game. It was like $19.99, like Java edition, right, or whatever, right? And then it kept taking off, and eventually Microsoft bought them, right? And then, right, they ended up adding realms to it, right? Which was like a subscription thing where you can like have your shared world for multiple people and all this kind of stuff, right? Then they added, okay, now we're coming out with new skins and new this and new that. And then they added the whole creative aspect for other kinds of game modes and all these other kind of things, right? But that was a long-term thing. But then they started doing spin-off games and all that kind of stuff as well, right? Like if you think long-term, that's the kind of potential you could have from a success like this, So, but first they have to get the core right. The core game has to stay established, has to keep improving, has to keep doing the things to keep the player base engaged, keep selling well, and prove that they're going to sustain as the core fundamental game does. Then you can grow from there, right?
Yeah, I think that's the major problem. After like I've pretty much experienced this entire game. Like once you got all the Pokemon, like unless if you just like building fucking houses, there's not really anything to do unless if you start a new world. Like all the settlements out in the world, like where the people like captured Pokemon, if you've run across them, like there's like these settlements with like guards and stuff that have guns and they have like a captured Pokemon. Those are kind of useless. You just kind of walk in there, free the Pokemon, and you get it in your bank. Like there's a lot of stuff in the world, but it just seems kind of like filler stuff that you can like ignore if you want. It's like
I mean,
not really
I don't know what's filler.
PvP.
And PvP mode would be sick. Actually, I wonder how that would work. In terms of like, I don't know. I don't know. I'm just wondering how that would work. But, I mean, you experience games way differently, Jasper. Like a lot of the filler people, I don't know who is filler. I'm still learning the mechanics and everything. I'm still figuring out what is what. I want to get to the point where what Mav was saying, like where you see people like flying and using Pokemon fire. I don't know how the heck to do that. Yeah. I'm still like in the very beginning.
I think the earliest Pokemon you get is like, I think it's called like Nighthawk or something. It's a bird. It's like, I think you get to sat at like 16 or level 19, something like that. And that's the first one you get to fly.
And there's like different spheres, right? Like, because I imagine.
Yeah, it's like Master Balls and Great Balls and stuff like that. So that's how you get like have a higher catch rate on some of the.
Okay, yeah, because I have the basic sphere. There's certain pals I can't really capture. Or I could beat them to death almost, and then throw something at them, and it makes it a little bit higher percentage. But yeah, I'm still figuring it all out. But Palworld, congrats, team. That's crazy. You inspired me to want to try to rip off some other game. Like, okay, what game? Let's see, Zelda. This is Zelda, Forza. Let's see what I can make with these two, and just see what happens. I'm not gonna lie, they kind of been inspiring me. Like, dang, I literally looked up. Yeah.
Have any of y'all played co-op in the Palworld?
Not yet.
Okay, because like co-op is super fucking busted. Like half the time, if you do like the boss Pokemon battles and stuff, like you throw your Pokemon out, like half the time he just fucking stands there. It's like fucking do something. So you like got to pull him back in and throw him back out, pull him back in. It's so fucking annoying. Co-op is so busted in this game. Like it's driving me insane.
I think probably 90 percent of players haven't even experienced what you're talking about yet. You know what I mean? It's like, I've been having fun with it. Like it's in game preview. I'm sure it's gonna have its issues. Like this is early access. Like just came out in game preview and early access on Steam. They didn't expect it to blow up like this, especially for something in game preview like that. And it's just crazy. And the answers though, Jasper, will be that how they do with addressing those kind of things that you're talking about over time. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like because that's what the core community fans of these games will be like noticing and asking for, like, okay, can you address this? Can you address that? Jasper finds it in like fucking 2 days.
Yeah,
Like, here's every flaw with your game. I've experienced every single thing there is to do,
Palworld
and I'll tell
quality
you,
tester.
you got to fix this first, and then you got to fix this,
Okay,
and then you got
here's
to
what
fix
you
this.
fix first. You gotta fix the Pokemon just fucking standing there like idiots doing nothing. You gotta fix the fucking damage, because for some reason the fucking damage in the bosses, like you use your spear, you do fucking 9 damage. But you go out in the open world, you fucking spear, you do 3 fucking thousand damage with your fucking spear. It's like, make fucking sense. Second, when you join co-op, if you're not at base, you just fall through the fucking world. So then you gotta climb up of an invisible fucking mountain to get out of the fucking ground. It's like,
Here I am trying to figure out how to put on clothes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
How do I put on
my
a
first
shirt?
chicken and I ate an egg.
Right. Yeah.
Like, yeah, I finally figured out how to like
No,
feed someone.
And
No,
this is
I think from a short term for Xbox, if it was up to me and I was a fly on the wall to or put the bug in the area as far as an idea, play this out for a year, leave it in early access, keep a close, not really a close watch, but keep them happy and satisfied with your platform. But in the short term, make a Series S wrap like
Yeah.
they're already doing, I guess, in Korea or Japan, where they're advertising it as like a beginner bundle because of the beginner bundle coming with Game Pass. So it's like play Palworld with Game Pass on your Series S. I would do a Palworld, wrap, and it already has the game included, whether it gets, whether that person gets, Game Pass or not, type of thing.
watch that be
from
the thing
there.
Nintendo comes after. Like, you trying to sell a wrap, it's like, actually, we're gonna try to block this one.
So they
Can't
block
tell
the
the
wrap, but not
wraps.
the
Nintendo would be. I mean, Nintendo's scary. I wouldn't want to come for them. So
If they
I
were going
was
to do anything,
joking.
they would have already done it. Like,
Yeah.
I was joking about the Zelda ripoff for future reference in case I do rip them off. But I was saying
with the Pokemon mod today, like that, actually, Nintendo may try to come for that mod. I think.
Yeah,
but
that makes sense. They
Yeah.
got to protect their
Yeah.
IP, but I wonder how they're gonna shut that down. But yeah,
go
I
after
mean,
the
I would.
modders is what you would do. I don't know. They
They'll,
should leave it
they'll
alone.
find out
but,
from Rockstar on what to do with modders.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to keep an eye on this game and see what happens over time. But I'm sure Microsoft is going to be keeping an eye on it, and also those devs are thinking about what's the best way forward now too, because they've never been in this position.
If you build a fucking house in co-op, the Pokemon can never find a fucking workbench inside the house. So that's why you got to keep everything outside. Don't fucking build a house. It breaks the fucking pathing of all the things, and then they just fucking walk up a mountain trying to get to the fucking workbench. So they're all useless. So keep everything outside.
Oh, okay. I just
So
naturally
sleep
built
outdoors.
everything outside.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say before we move on, their last game, and in addition to all the things where I was saying like it's naturally an exclusive, with PlayStation not offering early access, I don't even think they built a PlayStation version that naturally delays it. And then like if you look at their past games, they have never made it to the other platforms. It was always Xbox, PC.
Because they stayed in
and it
game
never made-
preview though, like they didn't ever get out of that.
So I imagine that it'll be similar situation here, just based on their history.
How many? I mean, didn't Ark even stay in game preview for like 2 years or something like that?
Yeah,
Yeah, but it also launched later on Xbox. It was on PC like 2 years before it even came to Xbox.
Right.
So,
Yep.
Yeah. So but now Ark's on PlayStation 2. You know what I mean? So eventually, who knows? But I think it'll be a hurdle for them because this game may stay in game preview for a long time, early access, whatever you want to call it, right? So, anyway,
Yeah.
I want to move on past Palworld, and I'm sure some of the chat will be, thank you, motherfuckers, for moving past Palworld. But I do want to talk about Indiana Jones a little bit. Indiana
Great
Jones, the first-person throw-up game that everybody's afraid they're gonna not be able to. Just gonna get so nauseated traversing, and but yeah. This game, I think, is going to get a lot of attention, and potentially, I think this could be like a Game of the Year type contender, one of the most popular, talked about games at the end of the year as well. It seems like it's getting the attention of a lot of people out there outside of like the core gaming community, but like more into like people are taking notice. Oh, what's this Indiana Jones game and stuff, right? And then there's a lot of the discourse between like first and third person and all this kind of stuff. So, I've talked about this a couple different times, and about Machine Games' legacy and where they came from, right? And I have some interesting. I put it out on Twitter a little while ago because I was kind of looking it up because I was listening to X and C earlier, and they were talking about first person stuff and kind of like, ultimately the chat there was saying like, yeah, just let the Machine Games do what they want to do, right? And I was like, and I always, for some reason, this always sticks in my head, but like a lot of people don't remember this, right? Like Machine Games was founded by the same founder that founded Starbreeze, right? So the guy that founded Starbreeze left Starbreeze in 2009, 2010, something like that, and with 6 other Starbreeze developers, founded Machine Games, and then went on to make Wolfenstein. So I looked up the guy, the guy that was doing the Indiana Jones presentation for Machine Games, right? The one that was standing there when Todd behind him stole the idol off the desk, His name was, I don't know if it's because it's Swedish. I don't know if you say Jörg.
Or you say Indiana Jones.
But in the States, we would say jerk. So I don't know if it's jerk or Jörg or whatever, but it's Gustafsson, right? Jörg. I'll say Jörg just because I don't want to be an ass. Jörg Gustafsson was his name, right? So I looked him up, and he is one of the founders, one of the 7 devs that had left Starbreeze to work on Wolfenstein and found Machine Games, right? Because when they founded Machine Games in it, then they got bought by Bethesda and all that kind of stuff, right? So I looked up and just did some searching on him because I wanted to see, was he one of those guys that founded, Machine Games? Did he himself also come from Starbreeze? And yes, and not only did he come from Starbreeze, but he was also a writer and worked on not only the Darkness, but also the Chronicles of Riddick games. So you want to talk about some pedigree?
Freaking amazing.
Right? And it makes sense, right? First person as well, because those games are also first person IPs that have come to life that maybe you would have expected Riddick to be a third person game, right? Escape from Butcher Bay. Like, okay, it's got stealth, it's got all these other things, right? But man, that's a classic, beloved game by so many people. It was fan-fucking-tastic. And then the same thing with the Darkness, right? Where you're taking this comic book kind of IP or whatever, and you're turning it into a first-person thing. And you remember you had the voice, Jackie, and all that shit, right? Going to like, so there was amazing stuff there. 3-Bit's boss, for one of the places he works, because he works at a million places or whatever, actually wrote the Darkness, right?
Yeah, he wrote.
So he probably worked with this guy.
He told me about the section he wrote in Darkness. If you guys look him up, Paul Jenkins, he wrote the section of Darkness where you kind of just chill with your girlfriend. You go into her apartment. And that was one of my favorite parts in Darkness, just because
I bet it was.
Like, it was different. No, it was just different, right? Like you had all this chaos moments where you're just shooting people, and then you have an opportunity and where you can just go to their apartment and you are sitting on the couch, you have your arm around her or whatever, and you're just watching different shows on TV. And you can like actually click and go through different channels, and you can like stay there as long as you want. And there's like dialogue for quite a bit, depending on how long you stay. I thought that was just so creative and just different. And this team who did that is what Matt was saying. They're a part of Indiana Jones, and they're such a talented group. I think people just forget sometimes with like the pedigree of these studios of. Because people have expectation, and I did too. I mean, with this third person sort of Indiana Jones will be interesting, but I love the fact that it's first and third in a lot of situations, just like Chronicles of Riddick. Like in Chronicles of Riddick, it's first during action segments, and then when he's like climbing on a pipe and stuff. I'm pretty sure I remember it going to third in those segments. So it's kind of like they're kind of going back to their previous sort of DNA of what they've done in the past, and that's super cool. And it's different. Like I think a lot of people were just mad that they couldn't compare it to something like Uncharted or Tomb Raider, and I mean that's what it felt like. But I think a lot of people are actually turning around in this game. The reception I've seen personally, because I was just curious, I was looking up different people's reactions. Like I looked up everybody's reaction. I was just curious. I was just like, okay, what are people saying about this game? I looked up IGN's reaction. That kind of hurt, but I did anyways. They loved it. They actually had a really good response. Like, wow, I didn't expect the game to go in this route. And you had your. Then I went to some ponies, and of course, ponies, they just find a way like, oh, what? It's first person. How dare they? Because they're allergic to like first person games. Apparently, they get motion sick. Even though PlayStation VR 2, they talk about. I've seen the same people who brag about like PlayStation VR 2 and stuff talk about getting motion sick for Indiana Jones being first person. Like, bro. Anyways, just seeing a bunch of people's reactions, I thought it was
well, we know what they use the VR for.
Yeah. Apparently,
Pornhub.
Yeah.
We've seen those stats. We've seen those stats, right? But no, like after I watched the Dev Direct so many times now, ever since from our last reaction, I feel like a new man or something from when we first watched that Dev Direct till now. I probably have watched it more than like 20 plus times, probably even way more than that actually. And I've grown to get like a really this appreciation for how they're handling the franchise, how they're handling the indie IP. I think it's going to be really interesting. I can't. I honestly can't wait. When you really think about what Machine Games is known for. I'm excited to see that on how they interpret it with the indie franchise. Like they're very good with villains. If you guys played any of the Wolfenstein games,
came out with like a 2 or 3 minute like interview video like on Twitter the other day. He was talking about like his work in it.
I think I saw like a snippet of that. He kind of looks like the villain, but I was like, whoa, okay. It looks like some model dude. I was not expecting that. But yeah, they kill it with the villains. And just knowing Indiana Jones and how this could be basically like a Sherlock Holmes and Moriarty type thing, where they're basically battling for the same sort of different artifacts and stuff, and how it's a race. I think they can handle that very well, just based on their writing in the past. So I'm really looking forward to that, and then their past history with Riddick, what Mav was talking about. Not enough people talk about that, I think. Riddick was such an awesome game back in the day. It did things like dynamic lighting and stuff. Like you could see your own character's shadow, which not a lot of games did at the time. It was like a moment like, whoa, I could actually see my character. Like, well, I could look down and, not a lot of games would do that. But the way it handled like shadows and you were like actually dragging people, it had like physics for the characters. If you guys like go back and play Riddick, I definitely recommend it. But when you look at the history of these studios and what they've worked on in the past, I'm excited to see what they're gonna do with Indiana Jones. Like that whip freaking looks awesome. The way like you can use it, the way that you could use it in different ways. Like you could trip somebody with it, you could slap somebody's hand with it, and you see the reaction. They're like, ow, they move their hand. Super cool. Super cool. I'm looking forward to what they got cooking. I think looking back at it, because you guys could watch our reaction to it on Fun Speculation.
Yeah.
If you guys look at our reaction to it and stuff like that, like, man, if it was just third person, now looking back at it, I don't know. I don't know if that would have been right move. Now as I'm thinking about it, like
not stood out as much,
Yeah, I don't think it would have stood out as much. It was like what a lot of people were expecting, like, oh, I want basically Uncharted, the clone of Uncharted. I think what this does is it plays to their strengths and it makes it different. I don't think I want another Uncharted or Tomb Raider. At first, I was like, I basically want Uncharted or Tomb Raider, but like They did that. Let them stay in
I
their
just
lane.
think
This is-
like the third person to me, like it never made sense because I always like pictured it as like you going into like a pyramid, like or a Mayan temple. Like you want to see that in first person. You want to see that up close. You want to see the details, like the spiders crawling up the walls, all the symbols and stuff. Like you want to see that up close. You don't want to see that far away. Like I don't. At least
Yeah.
for me, like
Yeah, the puzzle section, it makes sense. Like when I thought about it more, like what Jasper's saying, like yeah, that makes sense. Like having certain puzzles in first person, you're actually like putting, like when they showed the stone, he put it on the other sort of tablet thing. Yeah, I mean, the more I thought about it, I was like, yeah, you are indie. This does make sense to go this route.
Right.
And there's third person in there also.
Yeah.
It's not like they got rid of it, so that's pretty cool.
So he's Jörg Gustafsson has done an interview with Lucasfilm, but back also in 2022 he had done an interview with Game Reactor, kind of talking a little bit about this, and he obviously couldn't say as much then, but he did kind of talk about even then what kind of ideas like they would have, you know, for Indiana Jones as far as like story and stuff, right? I'm trying to find this exact. Okay, so this question from Game Reactor said, "All right, so let's talk a little bit about the games themselves. I know it's too early to talk about Indiana Jones, but Todd Howard himself confirmed that he's working on the story, etc. So, what do you say about the movies? What would you say is your favorite? What would you say is the essence of Indiana Jones?" He says, "For me, that would be Raiders of the Lost Ark. Of course, this is where the main characters are established, and then." They created the pillars that the rest of the movies basically stand on. I also think that is the best movie. It's a classic adventure movie. We are looking quite a lot at Raiders of the Lost Ark when we develop the game. So that's kind of where they're getting their core essence from. Then the asker of the question says, we've said we've grown older and these movies are pretty old. There was a more recent movie and there's going to be a newer movie, which is around the corner. How do you think that time that has passed and the new movie that's coming out could change the perception of pop culture about Indiana Jones today? So that's a difficult question. I'm sure it will to some extent, and I'm sure Kingdom, the Crystal Skull did it as well to some extent, but I don't really think so much about that myself. Obviously, we look at all the things. We look at the movies, but not only the movies, we look quite a lot at the old games, the comic books. We just need to make sure that whatever we do, it fits with the lore, and we tell a story that works with the lore and that's not in any way in contradiction with the lore. But when it comes to my personal favorite, yeah, it's Raiders of the Lost Ark. I also really love The Last Crusade. I think it's so nice with Sean Connery in that movie. But there's a lot of good stuff in pretty much all of the movies. You just have to find the bits and pieces that you want to see. Later in here, there's an interesting little nugget where Quake gets mentioned. So I don't know why exactly it got mentioned here, but it was from the.
And this is old.
This is from
older.
This is from 2022. Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'm trying to find this exact.
is it a video?
Yeah. So, okay. So the picture of the whiteboard is shown at the 3:20 time mark in the video, in this interview. But we came a long way, and of course, it was very nice to meet all your heroes from the Quake days as well, with Tim Willits and Kevin Claude, etc. All of that was very exciting for us. So then we go on later where the whiteboard is mentioned again. Okay, we can talk about genres and how you guys whiteboard projects a bit later, but from that moment on, you released 4 or 5 games. How can you be that prolific in less than 10 years? He goes on to talk about a bunch of stuff, and then later on, this is interesting. The question asker, for some reason, mentions Quake. Okay, so he says, so Wolfenstein, Indiana Jones, Quake. Also, remember, like, this guy sees
the guy who's interviewing him just randomly said
Quake? Said Quake after he was, I guess, doing this interview at their studio or whatever, because he sees like the whiteboard or something, right? Those are massive franchises, no matter how you look at them, and we've talked about the whiteboard.
So Quake's been on the whiteboard for 2 years.
Possibly. I don't know for sure. I want to try and play this video and where the whiteboard is shown. It says it's shown at the 320 mark.
There.
And they're in Sharpie, and they just couldn't get it off.
Yeah.
Forgot to turn this thing off.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, because
yeah,
I mean, it's in the Indiana Jones trailer. So,
all right, what is this? All right, I'm doing this live, trying to figure this stuff out. Okay, so there's a whiteboard here talking about.
It should be at the top left, or at least it wasn't in Indiana
Nazi moon bases. Maybe this is a Wolfenstein thing.
That's Wolfenstein.
Yeah.
You go to the moon.
Okay, so this is the Wolfenstein thing. Okay. Why did the interviewer mention Quake?
Unless they talked about it before the interview, because I don't see why else it would.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's no reason why he would mention Quake to Machine Games and also talk about that other little snippet. You know, Machine Games doesn't do Quake.
Yeah, that's like going up to freaking, I don't know, Tingle Gameworks. How's Quake going?
So he says, so Wolfenstein, Indiana Jones, Quake, those are massive franchises no matter how you look at them. And we've talked about the whiteboard. How do you guys approach these properties with so many staples? Many perceptions, as we've discussed with both Wolfenstein and Indiana Jones. How do you guys start with these 3 weeks that you mentioned in terms of conceptualizing, perhaps deconstructing what the actual essence of these properties is and trying to put the game concepts in place? How do you approach that process with such big properties? He mentions Quake in this question.
Yeah, that's interesting. It's interesting when you have like a future tease or something. Like, I'm pretty sure who was it? Some Microsoft like trailer or dev direct or something mentioned a game like years ago. I can't remember what it was.
They
was
did
it Hi-Fi Rush or
on
like
their website? They have the Quake remaster.
If someone in chat remembers like what I'm talking about, like in one of the dev directs they mentioned Blade. They mentioned Blade years ago for like one of their sort of directs, like it was like maybe during Redfall or something. They like teased Blade years ago, but no one.
So this is interesting. Also, earlier in the interview, right? He says, then I think this was early in summer in 2010. This is after they just got bought by ZeniMax Bethesda, right? They asked us, it was early in 2010, they asked us, do you want to come over and visit id Software and look at the new tech and see if you'd be interested to work with id Software's tech in the future? So we went over to Texas and stayed there for a few weeks. We looked into the editor and tools, etc. It was pretty good for us because we were so close to, since a lot of us came from the Quake background, we knew a lot about the tech.
I was gonna say they also, you said this interview was in 2022. The Quake remaster came out in 2021, and they helped on that.
So they helped a little bit on it. So it would make sense, like with them working on the new Quake potentially. Like, I don't know. So like we knew a lot about how the editor works and the id engine worked in general. So we got up to speed very quickly, which was great. Seems like a lot of these guys at the studio also have a history with Quake in the past, right? Because they said they were familiar with the tech with Quake.
Yeah, I mean, id, like Wolfenstein was an id game originally, so like they have to be close.
This was Machine Games, right?
Yeah, no, I'm just saying like they probably got a close connection because Wolfenstein was originally id, and then now they're both under Bethesda again, so it's like I'm assuming they probably have a lot of close connections with like each other.
Yeah, but this was coming from like Starbreeze devs that founded the studio, and this was like shortly after that. You know what I mean? So I'm guessing some of the people they had were familiar with working on Quake stuff.
Yeah, and that makes sense because the ID Tech engine, I mean, ID Tech is using the Doom engine, the Doom Eternal. Technically, it's weird, but Indiana Jones is using Doom Eternal's engine, if you really think about it. Which
they're working. They were they were using id, and it came out on there.
Yeah.
So
if they do the next big Quake game, like it's not a surprise that Machine Games would help on that or be a lead dev, like if it is busy.
Yeah. It's just some fun speculation, guys. Like little nuggets from a past interview. Don't worry, it could just be the remaster that they helped a little bit on. It is interesting that they were chosen to help with that remaster as well. They must obviously have, it kind of seems like they have a great relationship with id ever since then because they worked on Wolfenstein, right? They use the tech, the technology, all that stuff. Now they're building Indiana Jones in that. We saw Quake 6 on the whiteboard now. In this interview, they mentioned Quake as a franchise that they're working on potentially as well. So, like, I don't know. It's just interesting stuff. I'm not saying, like, to look too much into this stuff, but I don't know. There's some interesting things. Am I crazy, Fuzzy? Like,
you're muted.
No, I think there's something there. I mean, Phil has said it before. Whenever you see something on a shelf or in the background, there's something more to it. Whether it's an Easter egg to the fans or it's just, a project that might be in the works that may get shelved later. We don't know, but there's something about them in Quake because, like with the recent direct, unless like you guys were saying before, unless it was permanent marker Sharpie or something. Why is it still on the whiteboard? Like, is this the running joke at the office? Like some newbie came there with a marker and didn't use the proper dry erase markers, and that's why it's stuck on the whiteboard. So they'd like to show it every time they, have somebody over for an interview, or is it that it's part of like the next to do or something on the to do list next after they finish up? Let's say Indiana Jones. So instead of a Wolfenstein 3. Maybe we see a full of an actual Quake 6 at this point, as opposed to Wolfenstein 3 type of thing. So
yeah, and Arthur One was saying Machine Games did the Quake 2 remastered expansion levels.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean it is they have some history with Quake, it looks like, but I do wonder with it being teased in Indiana Jones, like Fuzzy was just saying, like what that means for the franchise.
Honestly,
I was never really huge in the Quake franchise, but that's just me. I was always like, there was like Quake around the time. There was like Unreal Tournament. I always went for Unreal Tournament. That was just like
I was a Quake. I was a Quake guy.
You was a Quake. Okay,
Yeah.
You went for the Quake. I went for the Unreal Tournament, and I thought it was like such a sick game because they went third person with like the sword for like one, and then they did Unreal Tournament 3, where it was the introduction to me doing game development with the UDK, I think it was called at the time, or it was really Unreal Engine. So yeah, I mean, I'm sure they could do some cool stuff with Quake, modern day Quake.
With the like Wolfenstein, like the story of it's kind of wrapped with BJ, and like that's really the only character that I care about with Wolfenstein. Like they tried to do their stupid like daughter stuff, but that game didn't do too well. So like, you're gonna either have to reboot Wolfenstein again, or like
I think just do prequels.
Yeah. Well, he was like in a coma for like 60 years or whatever, wasn't he?
Yeah. Well, he woke up for a little bit and went back.
Yeah, he was fine.
Yeah, I think the daughters thing was like them trying to monetize stuff, kind of like with Fallout 76. That was like we need to make more money situation, and so I think they could possibly do another daughter story, just now not focus on the monetization aspect, and hopefully that would be a better step forward kind of thing. But we'll see.
And interesting. I just wanted to point out like that this game is in some really seriously good hands, right, at Machine Games. And again, like it's a team that goes back to like 360 days working, or actually original Xbox days, bringing IPs to life.
I don't think it's backward
in video game
compatible
format.
Like the game with Vin Diesel. I don't think that's backwards compatible.
Riddick?
I don't think it is.
Escape from Butcher Bay?
I don't think it is. But...
There was a sequel too that was good. Sequel actually had a little multiplayer mode. That was interesting.
I didn't know it had a sequel. Wow.
Yeah, there was a sequel, and then there was also a sequel to The Darkness. There's a Darkness and the Darkness 2. The Darkness 2 had was a different
way
art
more
style.
action.
Is a different art style too.
Yeah, it was cool. It was cool, but it was definitely different
Did you ever
vibes.
play the multiplayer mode in the darkness?
Yeah, I did. It was pretty fast paced from what I remember.
You're like a little creature, and like you'd like jump and climb up walls and stuff like that. That was interesting.
Yeah, you can use your. I like the way in Darkness 2 where how you can use your things, but I liked it in the first one too. In Darkness 1, it had more of that Star Breeze essence to it.
Yeah.
Like in terms of how you move, how you look down and see your body, like it has more physics to it, if that
Yeah.
makes sense. Like
Mhm.
with Darkness 1
It
and
felt
Darkness
more
2 felt more.
immersive. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Like Escape from Butcher Bay was really immersive too, you know. But it shows what they're able to create back then, the original Xbox days with that game, which like people loved. I loved it too. Like where you're in the you're Riddick and you're in the prison, you know, and you go and like get into fights in there to try and
If a high body and stuff.
you're trying to figure out a way to get out the whole time, you know what I mean? And it's like unraveling and stuff, the story as it goes. It was absolutely awesome game.
Should we talk about the death of physical sales? Because that's starting to pop up in my
Oh, you mean the
timeline.
shit that's been going on for the last 10 years?
Yeah.
What is that? Like, what are people talking about the death of physical sales? I guess is not
I mean, people besides Hellblade, right? Besides that whole Hellblade shabacle, people are saying like, because Walmart start removing physical copies of Xbox
But they do
games on
that.
their
That was
stores.
with Starfield. They do that all the time. They do that with Nintendo games. Like, there's deal hunters out there that like they got like back ends. So they know somebody at Walmart. And they're like, this big game's about to go on sale. So Walmart marks it down 3 cents. And then these deal hunters go out there, get like 17 copies of Mario Party 3, and then switch it and then flip it on Amazon for like $30. Like that's a thing that happens with games. It's.
I mean, to be honest with you, physical retail's dying anyway. I mean, as well, like you're everything's going digital, plus also like online shopping and like doors, like stuff shipped to you, or you go and just do pickup stuff. We went out today, and I went in Best Buy, right?
Yeah, because they're starting to get rid of their stuff, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's like nothing. There's like most of the stock is empty. Like even you go in the video game department and stuff, you look around, and it's like most of the pegs don't have anything on them. Like there's an occasional thing, like one thing on a fucking peg. You know, like they just have such little stuff there, and it's like, what am I fucking even doing here? Like, what? Why would I ever come into this physical store to attempt to look for something to buy? Because anything I could potentially be interested in is sitting here on an empty fucking shelf, like with a price there, and that's it. So you go online, you do that instantly. Like physical retail, there's like nobody at the fucking stores either. You know what I mean? Like I go there and there's like 3 people walking around the entire Best Buy. And I live in a populated area, right?
Yeah.
We
like,
also
you trying to buy something?
Yeah, it's not just like electronic stores. Like my wife, we went to like this place called At Home, which is like this big home store where they have like, you know, furniture and decorations and kitchen stuff and all these things. It's fucking huge. It's huge. I think there was like 3 people in this entire fucking huge store, and we walked around for like an hour, and then we had like a cart full of some stuff, and we were gonna get a couple things, and then we're like, all this shit is like so much more expensive than if we could like find it on, just order it online, and like Kate was like, I don't want it anymore, and so we just like left. We just walked out, right? It's like so stupid. We spent like an hour there shopping, and we're like, why are we buying any of this shit? And it's
You
like
window
so
shop so you can go do it on Amazon.
So it's like there was FarQ says, Matt, when I was in Texas a few months back, I went to Best Buy. I wasn't impressed. Lots of empty shelves and quite a lot of things was cheaper on Amazon. 100%. You get it cheaper online. Shelves are empty anyway. Like they have very few video games there. They don't even sell fucking like movies hardly anymore now. Like there's like one little section with just some new releases on it. That's it. I used to love going to fucking Best Buy because I would like, they had all these movies and like they had a lot of sales and stuff, and I would go through and pick shit out. Like even that, like people are not even having things to play movies on anymore, even disc, right? The people are using their TVs come built in with streaming apps. So people don't need to go buy a DVD player unless
Do they? Yeah, I was like, do they even make DVD players anymore?
Yeah, like people aren't buying Blu-ray players hardly unless you're an enthusiast, right? The casual market isn't just buying the shit. Like consoles come with it. That's what most people play. I think that have a console play their movies and stuff on. But like, how often do you actually use a disc now? You know what I mean? I've had
even if you do own the movie, you're not getting up to fucking put in the disc. You're going to fucking Amazon or whatever and be like, I'll just rent it for $2.99 again. Fuck it.
I've bought like maybe this generation I've bought like maybe like 3 physical games. And one was because Dirk was on the cover of NBA 2K. And I had to get that because I always wanted Dirk to be on the cover of NBA 2K, and I had to get it, right? So I got that. I got a physical game that came with my PlayStation. Maybe I got one more.
I just don't like getting up and putting a disc in. Like that to me is too much work.
Even though I can literally touch my Xbox from where I'm sitting, I don't feel like doing that.
So it's like a lot of people are. Yeah,
no, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say.
Go ahead, 3-bit.
Okay. I was just gonna say.
Go
ahead, 3-bit. Go ahead.
You go ahead. No, Jasper, your turn. I'm just kidding. In terms of like where physical is going and stuff, like, and the whole argument with like wanting to do physical games, still, I understand the sentiment that people want to actually physically have something, but I gave up a long time ago having physical content. Just takes
part of the
space.
Xbox One generation.
Pretty much around that time frame where they pretty much said that they wanted to go all digital anyways, where people sort of backlashed them for it. Now it's like that's the world we live in now. Everything is sort of digital, and it's just a matter of time, I think, before physical not completely goes away. You'll still, I think, if it completely goes away, you always have a market of people where they'll have like limited edition type stuff for those people who want physical. I think they did that with like Scott Pilgrim, some other thing, where limited run or something. I forgot what they're called.
Like that.
But
like,
yeah, I mean,
like I used to like I have every fucking Halo game still physical. Like I was gonna get Halo Infinite physical, but they didn't have a limited edition, so I'm like, I'm not buying it. Like if they had a limited edition, I would have got it, but it's like okay.
So, I don't know. I'm all digital, but I'll pass it to you, Fuzzy. I didn't. My bad. But,
No, I was going to make a joke. They stopped making DVD players in 2016. All the ones that you see in the stores are just the 2016 models, just with a new package on them. And they stopped making Blu-ray players. And when did COVID start? What was that? 2020?
20.
So yeah, that was when they stopped making Blu-ray players because, Netflix was taking over big time at that point. So why make a Blu-ray player? Just sell the ones that nobody was allowed to go in the store to buy. So
yeah.
Yep.
I hit eject on my Xbox just to see if there was anything in there. There's not. Like it's just don't have anything. How long have PCs not had disc trays that come with them?
About 2005.
No, it's been way later than that.
Probably.
Like
no, they stopped putting PC games on the shelves in like 2005.
But like as far as like actually coming with disc in the PC tray, it's probably like 10 years ago or so.
2010 maybe.
At least.
Around that time.
At least. Yeah, Mac stopped doing it in 2009, or Apple stopped doing it in 2009. You couldn't get a built-in tray. You'd have, for like their laptops anyway.
Yeah.
Their box PCs or their Mac Pros, I think, unless you custom ordered it, it wasn't coming one as of 2013, 14 range, something like that. So
yeah. Yobi says, when I start building my Blu-ray collection, I'm throwing those cases away and keep the disc in a pouch, saving tons of space. Dude, let me tell you something, Yobi. Honestly, don't throw your cases away.
That's the cool part about having a collection is you put all your cases on a shelf.
Well, it's not. No, it's not that.
They're worth money. Yeah,
they're worth money. Like, especially if you get like the ones with the sleeves. Where they have the cardboard sleeves, right? I found this out like 2 years ago during COVID, and I was looking for shit to do, and I wasn't like I've stopped buying movies. I started going through my movie collection just to see what they're selling on eBay, and like so many of my movies, especially the 4K Blu-rays that had the sleeves, were worth like 2 or 3 times what I spent on them just like a year before that or 2 years before that. some of them worth like 60, 80, $90, right? I was like, holy shit. So I started selling some of my collection on eBay just for the fuck of it, just because they were worth money. And that's even without the digital, because all those movies would come with like, oh, you get it 4K and you get it with digital. So even if it's opened, even if you use the digital key to redeem it, all that they care about is the fucking sleeve. These collectors want the sleeve, that cardboard sleeve with the original, with the movie, and like and the movie's got to be like in good condition as well. But like that, if you get those in this with the sleeve, that's what these people want. So don't throw away your cases for sure.
Yeah.
I still have some, like I kind of stopped selling them, not because it's just because I sold the ones that were worth the most and I just stopped looking them up and all that kind of stuff. But I have so many in there that like if I want to, I could go back and like put them up there, get 20, 30, 40, $50 for several of them, old movies and shit. Like for sure. Now, if you don't want to sell them, hold on to them. Hold on to them, man.
Ton of different.
Like I kind of wish physical would like go to like I want the digital game, but like the only thing I want physical is just steel books. Like I just want the steel book. I don't care about the fucking disc.
Yeah.
Like just give me the steel book.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean some people are doing that. They pretty much give you the case, and the disc is kind of useless.
Yeah.
In fact, it kind of hinders you to have a case, or to not to have the case, but the CD, because you have to, if that's where your game is, you have to constantly put that CD in over time. So like it's almost always better. You can't game share with I mean that's what they were trying to do, I think, with the Xbox One. I forgot exactly what they were planning on doing with that, with like in terms of sharing your games, and it's like you can license it out to a friend. That was super cool. I hope they do something like that again in the future, like bring it back. Like,
everyone
hey
heard
guys,
the
you
DRM
chill?
word, and everyone heard the DRM word. It was like, we're out. It's like,
yeah, you guys chill now. It's been like 10 something years. How do you guys feel about it now? That's, I don't know, but
it's been a long time coming, man. Like it's, again, to think that eventually the companies weren't going to find that people actually have moved on to digital, and that it's more expensive to produce physical anyway, and all these kind of things is all going to add up. But technology has caught up to the point to where physical for a lot of people is irrelevant, right? It happened with music, movies. There's still like more of an enthusiast.
Music kind of went the retro route where they're like,
yeah,
give me a vinyl record.
Right, so because it's more of a collector's item, one, and it also has a
Mhm.
unique sound to it, right? So like you have a different perspective when you're listening to like a vinyl, but like a CD versus like high quality files, digital files, or like so listening to Spotify now and like with a good sound system is not going to be too much difference, right? For like the average consumer, you're going to have your like, again, there's always going to be somewhat of a market for like the highest of quality, right? Because you have audio files, right? You have your like super enthusiast, right? For movies that can really tell the difference between, like 4K from a disc on a great Blu-ray player, right? But the average consumer isn't really concerned. They just want to watch the damn movie, right? And they may know the difference between like 4K and not, but like, do they know the difference between the disc version and their regular streaming quality version on like Disney Plus or wherever they're getting it from? No, not really. But you're always gonna have those collectors also, right? So like video games is interesting because like if they continue to like sell consoles in the future and they completely remove the ability to have a disc, that's where it will differ a little bit from movies and music, because you can still like get some of those things. And if you have consoles where all new stuff, there's no way to play it with a disc, that's where it might affect that enthusiast market more. But also like the difference also in video games is there's no loss of quality with digital, right? Because you're downloading,
and the first,
you're not,
if I remember correctly, Hellblade was all digital, the first one. It wasn't until later, I think, that they had some sort of physical media.
I think it was after the acquisition, limited run.
Well, yeah,
they
it was like a
started doing
limited run.
physical.
So
Yeah.
it's not like it's crazy to me that Hellblade 2 is not. I mean,
And we're
Alan
also
Wake.
seeing like Alan Wake 2, yeah, it's a major AAA game from last
Yeah.
year. They did it.
Yeah.
And maybe
So they
later
better
they'll
not be
sell a
picking-
physical limited run thing. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, could
possible.
be. JD
I
Gamer.
mean, PC stopped doing physical games in 2016. Doom 2016 was the last physical game you could buy, and that was only because there was the demand of the community.
Flight Sim had a limited run physical
Yeah,
thing where it came
yeah.
with like 18 disc.
Yeah, like it's ridiculous to like. I'm surprised physical has held on this long with video games, considering PC got rid of it so long ago. The fact that they can't even put the whole game on the disc makes physical
Yeah.
irrelevant. If you don't have an internet connection to download the day one patch or the missing files from the disc, that disc means nothing. It's just
Yeah.
a license key, and that's been
Very
the
few
case
games
since
can fit on the disc these days. Yeah.
probably since 2021. None of these discs matter. I don't think there's a game now, as of 2021, that you can play without internet that comes on disc. Like I think the last one was supposedly a game on PlayStation.
Can you even
but
turn?
that was
Can you
like
even set up
2020.
your fucking console without internet?
You could up
Mm,
until
You can't set up the new
PS4 and Xbox
PS5
One.
without one because you got to register the
Yeah.
the disc drive. I mean, maybe you
Yeah.
can
Yeah.
like, maybe you can without the disc drive. I don't know.
I don't
man.
know.
Like,
But then what are you going to do? You can't fucking play anything because you wouldn't have internet. So it's like,
yeah, like,
Yeah, it's pretty much a requirement nowadays. Like all those things that people were complaining about back in the Xbox One days, it's like
yeah.
it's useless.
There
JD Gamer
Yeah, go
did
ahead.
2 super chats. Should I
Yeah, go
read
ahead.
it?
Yep.
JD Gamer with the $9.99. When capping for third-party exclusives and hyping up game sales backfire, ponies meet Palworld, an Xbox exclusive that's selling faster than any PlayStation first or third party, and it doesn't cost $70.
Yeah.
I
think-
mean,
honestly, Xbox lucked out with that one.
they got really
but you know, it is you know,
give credit.
it proves that like games don't have to be on PlayStation to be successful. Also, like again, there's like a time and time again, like there's people that make an argument, oh, it's got to come to PlayStation, otherwise it doesn't have a chance. No, especially not for like these kind of games. Like especially Roblox wasn't on fucking PlayStation forever until last year.
well, I mean, it was popular on
huge.
PC before it even came to Xbox. So
Right.
It's not like
I'm
Xbox.
not- I'm
That's
not-
what
no,
people
that's
try
what
to
I'm
say.
saying though. Like you don't. People are saying you have to be because they're making. They're talking about some of these PC games too. Like, you got to be on PlayStation, and it's like, no, you don't.
And
No,
I think
have
that's
to.
going to be the
consoles-
case even going into the future. Like, look at Among Us a couple years ago. Like, people were playing that on their fucking phones. Like, everyone was. So it's like, phone games can be the
Mhm.
most popular fucking thing out there. Like,
Yeah, and that's what we try to tell people. Like with these shows, like consoles are the smallest market. And I think people get confused when I say that because they can't imagine a phone has more people than your PlayStation, but that is the case. That there's mobiles, there's PCs, and when you are Xbox and you are tackling those two markets, there's console, and then you are going for PC, you are already getting a way bigger audience than PlayStation, which is why I will always be like, it doesn't completely make sense to tackle that PlayStation audience. I don't think you need to put games necessarily on there, but what it could do is maybe increase the market IP for whatever you're reaching. But in terms of needing the PlayStation, I never agreed with that. Based on consoles are the smallest dang market compared to PC and mobile. JD Gamer did another one. It's $4.99. Pathetic port begging ponies. Stop begging for Xbox games. You have no games. Ain't getting no games. And ain't never gonna get any games. That's what he said.
Interesting thoughts. Thanks, JD Gamer. I appreciate the support, man.
Thanks, man.
They don't have much this year. That's for damn sure, unless they surprise us. But
I mean, they got is
Yeah.
Concord this year.
Super secret second
supposed to be.
showcase.
it's supposed to be this year.
Sandwich Simulator.
I think like in the fun speculation fan group, we're kind of some of us are excited for Helldivers because I was a fan of the first game, right? So it was interesting to see what they're doing with the second one. I'm interested in Rise of the Ronin. I'm also interested in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, right? Because I liked part 1. I like those games more than Final Fantasy 16. You know, Final Fantasy 16 probably coming to Xbox this year. Maybe even also Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 1 as well. Like, so they're not really; those aren't really exclusives, or those aren't first party games.
14
for them,
is supposed to come out
Fantasy.
in February or something.
Yeah. I don't really have interest in Stellar Blade. I know that there's some of us that do. But as far as
For
that,
different
but
reasons.
they don't have any big games, right? They don't have any big games that has a lot of people hyped for this year. Which
Foam
What do you
Stars,
mean?
bro.
Baby steps.
I forgot about.
I mean,
Foam
people are trying
Stars is
to,
going to outpace fucking Palworld.
Stars.
I've been seeing that.
That's what I've been hearing.
people are
Yeah.
trying to hype up Foam Stars right now, and like I'll tell you, like they ain't gonna have as many players as Palworld. That's for damn sure. So
Hey, we got Splatoon at home.
what's funny is like, you know, they're talking because Foam Stars also is only on PlayStation. Which they
Not
wanna,
even PC,
which
right?
they want to say, oh, that means it's a real true exclusive. That means you're not gonna have a fucking player base on that fucking multiplayer game. Let me tell you, like,
They
I
got
will
50 million consoles, bro.
I will be surprised if that game sells like
20 million's not turned on.
Is this free to play or is it?
It's in PS Plus.
It's in their
Okay.
PS Plus Premium, just like Destruction All
Which
Stars
has
was.
about 3 million subscribers, maybe. Premium doesn't have that many.
Okay.
But it's not like Game Pass Ultimate that has has around 30 million or whatever. Like you're talking about a subsection of PS Plus where there's very few people. So
But they have 123 million active users.
How many people subscribe to PS Plus Premium? I want to know that. And is it only in Premium or is it an extra?
I thought it was
Because it should
It's
be
not.
an extra.
I just know it's not in the basic. I guess it's in extra and premium. but
Okay,
it's
so
like,
if it's an extra, they probably have maybe like 5 million or something with extra, or maybe like 7. I don't know. They don't have the subscription numbers that Xbox does with the game subscription because they don't have a good game subscription service. They have a lot of PS Plus Essentials users, but those fuckers ain't getting the game. It's not like the Game Pass Ultimate or standard Game Pass or Game Pass Ultimate, right? Like,
Yeah.
maybe it'll get them some subscribers finally that they have like somewhat of a look forward to game.
Subscribe for
Kind
Foam Stars.
they didn't
I
sign
don't
up for
know.
straight
Maybe
names.
This is
maybe a
going to be.
maybe
I'm
a few
so
thousand.
interested.
It's on PS Essential. Okay. Rate sheet
Yeah,
says it's on Essential. Okay,
Yeah,
if it's on
yeah.
Essential, that's different. That means that like
Has a chance.
pretty much everybody that has a PlayStation is like PlayStation is going to be able, unless they don't play online, which is an online only game. So like that would be kind of dumb. So
It's going to be interesting. Like I'm very interested in seeing how this game performs.
yeah, it has
when
a
you
chance
have-
if it's on Essentials to get a player base.
My
It does?
prediction is it will reach 2
Pretty
million
popular
in
for
active
thing.
users, but not concurrent.
How
Yeah.
so? How much is it to buy?
Did
don't
they
even know
release
if
the
you
price
can
for
buy
this?
it.
Well, there would be no point to even sell this game unless it because hear me out. Hold on. Hear me out.
Whoa, man,
I'm
whoa.
just telling you, as a PlayStation user, if you buy Foam Stars, you're a fucking idiot. Okay, let me tell you why. First off, it's multiplayer, so you have to have PS Plus Essentials to play it, right?
Mhm.
If you have PS Plus
So you already
Essentials,
have access.
you're getting it for free, according to Ray Chi. It says it's on Essentials, right? So if you buy it, you're just like saying, "Hey, I like to give away money." Unless you want to really support Square Enix, which why the fuck would you want to do that?
You got to support the devs, bro. We're all about that.
That's true. I didn't think about it like that.
So it's only in PS Plus for
Friend.
1 month? Is that for real?
Wait, is it? I thought
Wait,
it was only
no,
a PS5
I think he's talking
game.
about.
Is he saying it's a PS4
I'm
as
so
well?
confused. There's so much misinformation being spread around right now, and I'm at the fault of it. Does somebody
He's
tell
talking
me the
about Helldivers?
facts? No, we're talking about
Check.
we're talking about
On
Foam
the-
Stars.
It does
Oh.
say PS4 version, PS4 Pro Enhanced, and DualShock 4 vibration
Yeah,
as a
So
feature
it is
on
going to
the
be on
website.
PS4.
So it's on PS4. Okay, so but what is it in essentials? First off, and how long is it? Only for a
It
month?
just says PS Plus. I cannot find anything where it's like it's in
Oh,
premium.
it's the free game of the month, or is it the free game of the month,
that?
or is it? I
That
don't
would
know.
make
Here we
sense
go.
because
Okay, that would make sense because PS Plus Essentials isn't a gaming subscription. Like it's it's online subscription
Because
where
it's
there's some
rare.
free games, there's
They-
2 free games a month or whatever.
they normally
Right.
don't do that, so it would be like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, it would
They're
be like
starting
what
to
they
do
did with
stuff.
Destruction All Stars. They
Yeah.
gave it away because they knew nobody was going to buy this shit, right? So that's what they did with
Well,
Destruction All Stars.
should I read Raichi? He does. He said, I don't want to switch to Splatoon copycat on PS4. Yeah, I mean, it is Splatoon copycat, but
Yeah, so again, if you buy it, you're dumb. Just claim it for free.
I'm seeing somewhere that's reporting it's $30 off some random
Yeah,
website.
it doesn't matter what
so-
price it is. It's free. It's fucking free. Just make sure you log in and get it for free. Don't spend money on foam stars. Come on. Why would you want to do that? You don't need to care enough.
Support the devs, man.
PlayStation's giving Square all that money. You don't need to. PlayStation's said, "Hey Square, we really need something multiplayer because we can't figure it out." So Square said, "Hey, how about we spray foam at each other and you give us all this money and we just make this foam party fucking stupid game." And they're like, "Yeah, that sounds good. How fast can you make it? It'll take us 3 weeks. We can make this game in 3 weeks." We're just gonna copy Splatoon, right? We're just gonna copy Splatoon. Just like, the Palworld copy Pokemon, we're gonna copy Splatoon, but it's gonna
It
be
is
with
what it is.
bubbles. It's gonna be with bubbles instead of ink.
I mean, they're still playing The Last of Us Remastered Part 2. I don't know if they got time for Foam Stars next month.
yeah, just came out,
That's
right?
You can
So-
play the guitar now too.
Yeah, they got to make whole fucking songs in that game.
No, I don't fucking know. They're giving it away for free. Cool. I'll try it. I'll play it for free. And
Sylvia said, how soon do you think Sony will go day and date? It was reported that Horizon 2 went to their service. They pulled it because they lost millions. They kind of are damaging their own selves by not doing day and date. It's the expectation thing. It's when they do put games on PC, it's years later, and that PC crowd is different. If you don't respect them when a game first comes out, they're like, okay. They're either gonna wait or they won't come back. So that's where you
Rockstar.
Yeah, one exception being freaking Rockstar because their games are on usually another level. But Sony putting games on PC, we see it with the sales. It sells okay, but never to the level it probably could if they go day and date. But they're kind of scared of going day and date. But I think it's in their future. We've always talked about on this channel of PlayStation, like eventually they're gonna have to do day and date or at least start adapting their library to be on PC. It just makes sense. Xbox sort of created this model and then it's getting harder and harder to ignore each year. Just as Game Pass's value grows, people are starting to look at Game Pass, be like, well, shoot, look at what Indiana Jones and all this different stuff. You'll start to see the media start to change, was my idea. I think over time, the media will shift from this sort of freaking Xbox tax situation to maybe dang, we just can't ignore it. We'll see if it goes that route because people love PlayStation. It's that console, right? It will take a lot to break that mold. But my theory is soon, maybe next 5 years or so, they'll start shifting their catalog to more. I think progress, right? So more games on PC. Then maybe they'll test it out with one title. Then they'll just keep going.
PC, mobile, and cloud is going to be a future part of PlayStation. They're just way behind the 8-ball.
The CEO just came out
a
couple of days ago. Was double down. We're continuing to see a future in cloud and mobile games and stuff like that. So and I saw a bunch of.
I wonder who made that model. I wonder who.
It
Who
came
was
out
it?
a year ago or maybe more that they were working on a PC app. They need to get that out. They're so far behind. They don't have a PC storefront. Like if they have a PC storefront that they put their games there, right? Yeah, I know PC players. I don't want to download another launcher, right? But like PlayStation will, if they have good enough games, will find people that will buy them and play them on there, and they can grow that unified ecosystem, much like Xbox does. Then you get the benefit of potentially, if they don't fuck us over, cross buy, cross progression, the whole unified ecosystem thing. That's where PlayStation may end up going, which is what I would hope they do, because I have a PC and I have a PlayStation. I would like to play the games I own anywhere, like you can do with music and movies. Like if you own a movie, like you can play it on any device that you have. If you own a digital movie, right? If you own a digital music, you know, you can play it on any device that you have. Why should it be any fucking different for video games, right? Like if I own something that's digital, like I want to play it wherever I have access to it, and I want
thinking about that the other day, like, do you think Sony's like kind of stalling the PC thing because like they're not making money off the software? Like we've seen that they've kind of been like even or just like slightly below. Like they're making all their money off physical hardware sales, so maybe they're trying to get as many hardware sales this generation as they possibly can.
But they're not making a lot of profit on the hardware sales. That's the problem, right? Like they're hey, revenue's great, you know, but if it's not driving profit, then you know there's a problem there. So like there's already an established
making like $5 from Spider-Man 2.
So like there's an established PC audience, right? I would say Sony's making a mistake by not putting their games on PC day and date, because if you come out with those a couple years later, there's players that are only going to play on PC. Just let's face it, right? So if you come out with the game 2 years later, the game's already been like kind of, it's in the past. You know what I mean? You're missing out on that day one hype and excitement. And a lot of gamers get caught up in that and want to buy these games when they're a trend and when everybody's talking about them. Not 2 years later when they, oh, hey, finally, here's your PC port. And then they do a half-assed job sometimes at that, right? So doing the PC version day and date is going to help them grow more of an audience on those kinds of games and get them more sales. Like, if you prefer playing on a PS5, you're not gonna all of a sudden switch to PC. Like you're still gonna play on your console, because there's console gamers and there's PC gamers, right? Some of us may play some and flip between the two, but like overall, you're gonna play where you want, and like
that's their fault for that premium thing that they keep porting.
Yeah,
they even have that
PS5's
premium
equivalent of a 5090. I mean, you can't.
Yeah, it's like if you look in their slides, they even talk about this. They talk about like how their games are they can't really compete to Game Pass's level of trying to put things day one. This was literally in their
because they
slide.
don't fucking try. Like they're
but they don't try.
Yeah,
I
they
mean,
also
factions
they like cannibalize their sales or whatever, which they care about. So they can you can't want the whole pie. You got to pick certain slices out of it.
Like
it's so dumb to me.
I think it's cool that they're doing this game in PS Plus Essentials, but they have to put it there because they don't have any fucking subscribers and extra and premium. So if they put it there, they're not really going to establish a player base on a multiplayer game, right? So like because they haven't established the necessity for people to subscribe to extra or premium. And so if they actually are serious about the future of the ecosystem, like I talked about this when they announced the new tiers, they're dipping their fucking toe in it. You can't have it. They can't take, oh, we lost this much on Horizon Forbidden West sales or whatever they
also,
did.
their tier thing is too fucking confusing. They need to simplify that. They need to like reduce that or fucking change the name.
They changed it. This is the second time.
Yeah, they added like fucking too many. It's like Essentials, Premium, Pro, Plus. Fucking who the fuck knows what it is? There's too many goddamn tiers.
Right, Premium gives you the cloud stuff, and it also gives you some like PS1 and PS2 stuff. At least that's what they originally built it as. Extra is your gaming subscription, where you have like games to play that are from third parties and not very many first parties for the new games, at least. You know, like again, GT7's still not in there for some fucking reason. It's like almost
that's the ridiculous part,
old,
like,
you know. But
they never put MLB in there either.
Yeah,
which is so funny. Like you have your competitor put your game on Game Pass, and you won't even put it in your own service.
Like the Insomniac leak showed that like when they put like Horizon, I think it was Horizon in there, like Horizon 2 maybe, they like it plateaued their sales. It's like they were projecting like 4 million or whatever, and they like got stuck at like 2 for the longest.
But
time.
that's
when
what
did that-
happens when you dip your toes. Like
First
if you
off-
fully.
When did that hit the PS Plus Extra?
It was like a year or two
a
later.
year
It's
and a
like-
half later. Okay.
Yeah.
So that many people are still buying Horizon Zero Dawn that it's cost them that many in sales. First off, I call a little bit of BS on that. Secondly, you're not going to drive the subscriptions by putting a year and a half old game into your service. So the point of having the service is to draw subscribers. That's the benefit of putting content into your service, is to make people want to subscribe. You know why you probably didn't see any traction there? Because you put an old ass game in there that people have already fucking played. People aren't going to come and subscribe to that. Secondly, you're not doing it like with your other games. You don't have like a routine of an established like pattern of maybe people are okay with waiting or whatever. And I'm sure you don't want that, Sony. But if you have a service where people can look forward to content coming in there day and date, then you actually might get some subs. And will it cannibalize sales somewhat? Maybe, but it ain't going to cannibalize all of them. And you're still going to sell the games to people that want to own their games. And you're going to actually grow a subscription service for people that are willing to pay that kind of money for a sub service if you actually have fucking content in it. Ubisoft's subscription service kicks PlayStation's ass. Ubisoft has a better value in their fucking subscription service than all of fucking PlayStation. It's insane. EA does better too. Both of them would be well worth more of your money to subscribe to than PlayStation Plus Extra or Premium. Because why? The point is to save money as a consumer, to have content in there that you were planning on buying, therefore giving you a reason to play. Like, okay, well, I can do this. Like, I'm subscribed to Ubisoft Plus right now. I can play Prince of Persia. I can play Anno, which I didn't plan on buying. I have just played Avatar some, right? Then we got
Skull
more
and
games.
Bones drops next month.
We got more content coming. Guess what? That's their day and date with the premium fucking content in there, right? And I can play it on PC and on Xbox if I want to. You can't do that on PlayStation. They don't have that shit on PlayStation. You know why? Because it makes their subscription service look like dog shit, which it is. Absolutely. You think they're going to put Ubisoft Plus on there, which is like a fucking 1,000 times better than their trashy ass subscription service for extra and premium that has no fucking good games coming out day and date? Why would they do that? Who would subscribe to that shit? If you subscribe to extra or premium, there's only one reason as a consumer you do that, is you've missed out on a shit ton of games the last couple years on PlayStation. You get it, like, this is a cheap way to go play some old ass games here. I'm going to get caught up. Once you're caught up, move on with your fucking life and get an actual good gaming subscription service that gives you things to look forward to. That shit is worthless, and if PlayStation doesn't see that, they're fucking morons. How can you look at one game, Horizon Forbidden or whatever the fuck, was it Zero Dawn? I'm sure Zero Dawn.
That was too much.
How can you put Zero Dawn in there and be like, well, this costs us this much, this isn't going to work for us? You're going to test it on fucking Horizon Zero fucking Dawn? Really? That's your whole judgment for how an entire gaming subscription fucking works? Is fucking Horizon Zero Dawn like 18 months after launch? You fucking morons. Come on.
Plus, they
Get
gave it
some
away for free
sense.
during COVID.
Learn how the business works. God, get your shit together. People want value. People want to save money. They don't want to fucking spend $20 on an old ass game to join a subscription service day one. Why? Why would anybody? Fucking don't get it, man. It's like, don't stop dipping your toes in the water. Get some fucking balls and give people the value. Draw them in. Let's go.
PlayStation 3 cloud games?
No.
Oh.
That's what I heard. That's what I heard too, man.
Games.
I'm Sony, so I'm like, I heard what Jasper. You just put PS3, right? That's what.
And then put them on PC day and date. Give us cross buy, cross progression, everything. Give us the fucking whole thing. Tell us why we should subscribe to the ecosystem as a subscriber, not just a $70 payer for these things.
No, I get it. I get exactly what you're saying, man. But it's like, if you're going to do a subscription service, the whole point, like I still feel like they have that old mentality of sales, with their physical, with like their console sales, like they be driving that to the point of like they
That's what I
be
was saying. They
really
want the
playing
whole
with their
pie
numbers.
when you can only get certain pieces of it. Like,
Yeah, and they really play with their numbers sometimes, especially with Spider-Man. Like, I forgot what they said. It's like this is the best selling within a
Do you think
24-hour
they're gonna?
period,
Do you think
or
they're gonna
change the
count
time
the
period they were
free
saying.
Foam Stars copies they give away in Essentials as sales? Because you do have to check out for it, even if it's free.
Mm.
You have to check out for it still, even if it's a $0 thing. And then when you get a PS Plus Essentials thing for free, you get the email that says "Thank you for your purchase." Right? Do we think they're gonna like tout like that's Foam Stars?
they
has,
will
like,
push those numbers.
20
They
million
be
in
really
sales
pushing.
because of like the free copies that they gave away. I don't know.
Probably they be really like boosting or playing with their numbers sometimes. It really feels like with like how they said with what I was saying to Spider-Man, like it's the most sold in 24 hours, just stuff like that. They really be pushing it, but you can't really dip your toes into a subscription service. It's pretty much what Matt is saying. Like if you dip your toes into a subscription service, people are gonna feel that. The PC audience already feels when you release a game months, years later. Like they've moved on. They're moving on to the next big thing. Like if you don't treat your audience a certain way, they have expectations a certain way. It's like the whole premium thing that they're touting, like this is premium pricing, this is premium games and stuff. It's to me, when you are Sony and you put yourself in a position of these premium games and you're doing single player type experiences, the sort of not one and I wouldn't say the one and done, but for a lot of it, let's say I finished Spider-Man in a day and I never return. And you have a lot of your games, your game library, where it's not a games as a service, where it's not really encouraged to return necessarily. That does hurt you. So when you have a game like Foam Stars, you best push it because at this point they don't have a lot of games as a service games, which does kind of hurt their service model. So if I was Sony, I would wait until you get more
That's why
games
they're
as a
putting
service games.
those roguelite aspects in every game so they can have some replayability.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, facts. Facts. Like once they get that, Mav, I think maybe they'll start touting that day and date. I do believe that at some point they're going to start doing more day and date. I mean, we'll see. They really have to be pushed to do a lot. Like Sony, like once they see other people doing it, they kind of wait. Like, what is this? We'll see. And then they do it, and people are like,
I
oh,
wonder
amazing.
if it's more of a
the
control
Apple
issue because
fruit.
like Helldivers is coming day and date PC, but like I get the idea that PlayStation doesn't really have that much control in them. Bungie,
Yep.
all their games usually, well, Destiny, I don't think didn't, but I'm assuming now going forward, Bungie will put all their games on PC day and date. They're kind of starting to do that trend. So like, I'm wondering if it's more of like the individual studios deciding if they want to do day and date on PC and PlayStation, and not PlayStation actually forcing the devs to do that. Like,
I think it might be a readiness thing. Like if was it Blue Point or no Nixus, if they're ready, if they've gotten that port ready to go. But I want to say the first party studio that's going to be day and date that's not a multiplayer is going to be Ben Studios. Their new IP. Let those guys, the ones that are probably on the chopping block, if this IP doesn't live up to the PlayStation experience. I think that's the one that they do day and date as the experiment. And hopefully it lands well. But if it doesn't, if it's another 70 something by Metacritic standards, I could see them closing Ben Studios.
Yeah.
But
And Sony has
we'll
a tight grip on these studios, Jasper, to answer your question. Like compared to Xbox, where I feel like they have to play a game of being hands-on a little bit. Like they've been pretty hands-off with some of their studios. There's certain ones are like you could be a little bit more hands-on. I feel like Sony is basically like watching like this with a lot of their studios. It's like that's the way I imagine it, but we'll see. Especially with how this faction situation has gone down. Don't even get me started on factions, but with that whole situation, it leads me to believe they have like a pretty strong hold on studios and their direction and what games they make, what kind of content they make, which leads me to believe like they decide which games will go into their services and stuff. And it's based on those documents and how they're seeing games and how they were comparing the Game Pass model. Like, oh, that Game Pass model is a threat to our business. Like that was like in their slides. So how can we differentiate it with our current catalog? The answer was kind of like they can't. We just have to keep relying on that premium model, which is why I keep bringing that up. Is because
one of their things was like they're going to try to add other subscription services into their service, like Spotify and Disney Plus, like other like types of streaming services into theirs, like as a partner deal or something like that. But
yeah, and then in the meantime, yeah, exactly. They'll probably do stuff like that, like hey, we'll do some like 3-month thing, kind of what the Game Pass has done with Paramount.
Like, they give you the perks on Game Pass, like free 3 months or whatever.
And they own like Crunchyroll and some other stuff, and they are Sony, so they do have like movie connections and things like that. So they probably will end up doing more perks, but that's the route they kind of have to do it in the meantime until they start building out libraries for like games as a service games, and then they're competing against a $1 trillion company. To be fair, if I'm being fair to Sony, they are competing against someone who's already been building up their Game Pass empire. They're way ahead of the game with Xbox than PlayStation. PlayStation, I feel like, is just starting. They're like, oh shoot, I didn't know Game Pass would be successful. Shoot, let me look at let me look.
It's proven because it in its own bubble, it's profitable, right? So, like, to say any company can do it if they put the effort into it. It's just whether they want to or not. It's not going to necessarily sort of replace your entire business model. Like, there's numbers that came out where it's only like a portion of the entire spending or 10% portion of the entire spending for consumers. Not necessarily going to replace everything, but like it can be its own existing thing that drives people to your ecosystem for sure. And they're missing the boat on that, I think.
You can't have to it. You can't have to it.
No, you can't half-ass it. You can't half-ass anything, especially when you have competition, right? That's doing it better. We have a couple super chats to get to, then we need to get into tidbits. So Raichi with the $2 Canadian super chat says, I don't own a Switch, so Splatoon copycat on PS4. All right, let's go. Hey, you know what? If that's your way to get that Splatoon action as Foam Stars, more married to you. I'm gonna get it for free. I don't have to pay for it, so I'll try it out. Jax82 with the $5 says Suicide Squad comes out before Foam Stars. This game is dead on arrival. Yeah. I don't know. We'll see how good Foam Stars is. I don't see a reason to buy it if they're giving it away. So like,
it
could
be interesting.
The fact that it's only on PlayStation though, I don't know if it's gonna have a great player base because realistically, like exclusive multiplayer titles have had a bad history on that platform.
PlayStation. Yeah,
they should have pushed for crossplay with Xbox.
They really should have. I mean, with this type of game, just like Sony's catalog for multiplayer is not great. How many times have they tried to make a Halo killer and it killed themselves? Like any title that said Halo killer, pretty much dead.
They're gonna have to hit on something.
Halo killed itself too.
FarQ member for 9 months says, Mav, tell us how you really feel. All right, so everybody, one other quick note. Don't have time to get into this, but like check out the Avowed extended dev diary stuff or developer stuff, because they did like a part of the Xbox podcast for the official one, and they had a segment on there, and they actually showed just longer gameplay segments and really went in depth and all that. And the game is absolutely, I'm even more sold after watching that. I can't wait for it. It's going to be amazing.
That was cool to see. It's a lot more extended. It's like swimming and doing different stuff. So cool.
All right, let's go to tidbits, everybody. But don't play it. All right, everybody, this is Tidbits, a segment on FSP where we look ahead at the games coming out for the week, and there's some good ones here. So January is getting started off strong. We had Palworld last week. Let's see what we got this week. All right, ready, Jasper?
Yeah, hit play. It should be.
Oh, okay. This was fucking up last time. I hope it doesn't do this every time now.
Yeah. Let me see.
Here we
The
go.
ambition of an empire
I'm gonna leave. and-
cast down by mud.
What is
Yet
this?
the people remained. Elkin
yeah.
remained.
This looks
Graven.
like
And a
an
living was dug out
old
of the
Elder
Yeah, I love
it.
Scrolls
It's a
style
remaster.
game.
It was a fertile field for plague.
Looks familiar.
The dead
Oh,
quickly
this is
accumulated
Graven on
clogged our waste
PC,
tunnels,
coming out
and
Tuesday
began
for
a cycle of
$24.99.
infections.
Only on
Soon,
PC at the
the
moment.
city became a hamlet, confined to a
the
single
style.
square.
Yeah.
Very like a. I don't know.
We weren't prey,
Yeah, it's like an old Elder
but we
Scrolls
were
style
someone who
looking
could do
thing.
that for us.
Yeah,
That
but it has like more
and much
pixely. Like,
Yeah.
A
Vibes
convict
to it.
priest arrives in town, backed up against the saltwater swamps.
animations are really
He will
good,
need to
actually.
ignite the sunken lighthouse, braving the packs of lycanthropes, cowards twisted into beasts by the swamp, and made its defenders.
I'm impressed.
Only then will the gates open in
This is
relief,
kind of like a
as the
remaster
throng of infected
kind
are
of deal.
drawn to the flame. Our people know that what is dead
That dude's such a
stays
clown.
dead.
I can't.
But the infidels deep in the bog bury their warriors alive,
Nice.
only to dredge them out decades.
So this is only on PC.
Yeah.
The
For now,
avenues fill
yes.
with the clacking of
Okay.
bones, moving
Graven
without flesh.
Cruxford.
But he can overcome it.
I think that's just the name of the trailer. I think the game's just called Graven.
It is the
Jason
only
Max
way
says
through
Reforged
to
said Avowed should
Grimline's
have been
library.
third person.
Yeah, that's what I was.
Within that library
Why?
resides a secret
Like it's-
held
That
by
dude's
the
Everything's gotta be
dead
third person, bro.
and
Does he
guarded
gotta
by
throw
the
up
dead
with that
who
one
do
too?
not know they are.
It's the PlayStation. It's usually just the PlayStation community or just like
tale
everything.
of
They
how the
they basically
Black
want the
House
same
of the
game
Bog
in different. They
was
want
Sony.
sad dad simulators for
The house
everything.
was damned
Anything
long before
doesn't
the
matter
plague,
what it.
before the flesh crawled. The Iron Crown priests performed their rituals within it.
This is so
Safe
cool,
from the
man.
mire
I don't know
waters of
why
the
this
bog.
was not on my radar,
Yeah.
Our only hope
Um,
is in
but I'm
disrupting
really
that
liking
ritual.
what I'm seeing here.
But what will he release?
So this is a
What
remaster, you said,
shakes the
Jasper?
brine shores
I thought
within
so,
the
but
mist?
like I
I
can't.
think this is like an
Dare he
original
make it out
game.
alive?
That's like
Where shall
old
he
retro
travel?
style, maybe. I don't know.
Frozen peaks of Granite Watch
Yeah, it doesn't look like a
become
remaster
one
to
of
me, but
Grimwine's experiments.
Graven?
Capital is blockaded.
Yeah, I guess
No one
not.
can enter. The grasslands swallowed by the desert.
I never heard of it before. If
The
it is,
myths have become true. And only
no, I think
he
this is a new.
seems capable of
I think there
defending
might be
reality
a series or
itself.
something.
Or is this the game that was like? I think this is like what Hexen 3 was supposed to be. Like I think the team
that would
behind
make sense.
Hexen or something. Like
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
3D Realm.
3D realms. Yeah,
wow,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
that would make some sense.
No wonder that looks
They're
dope.
they're based in Dallas.
Oh yeah, 3D
yeah.
Arms.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that game's now on my radar.
Shout out
It's
to
very
Duke
cool.
Nukem.
When the howl came, we were not prepared.
This one is Howl, coming to PS5 and Series X and S this Tuesday for
It's written that
$13.49,
there's one who defies
but it's also in Game Pass. Excuse me, also in Game
She
Pass.
seeks
Day
her
and date.
lost
Oh, this is in
brother.
Game Pass.
She's not made for
Interesting.
fighting beasts.
What am I looking at? Is this the
but she
game?
knows their ways.
Yeah.
Oh, that is
Yeah,
the
it
game.
looks like a little
She reads
like
the
strategy
future.
game.
a little
She
tactics game.
plans
Like-
ahead,
Yeah.
I've never
walking
seen this
the
style
path
before.
fits before her.
It's like watercolory.
Game of the year candidate right here, guys. I'm telling you.
Yep. Yep. Put it in for that indie category.
I think the next one.
No, it needs to be status.
Because it's a re-release.
Oh,
The,
okay.
the next one is a re-release.
There's more than one of these.
Well,
No,
Oh,
the
okay.
next game
Oh,
coming up.
okay, I was
think
like,
a
what?
Game of the year.
Didn't Game Awards just add a remake category?
No.
I thought they did.
They were debating on if they should do that, but they
Yeah.
probably will. Or they'll just put, The Last of Us 2 up for it.
You gotta give it
Half
something.
Mermaid.
Yeah.
What is this?
Yeah,
Oh.
this is Immortality. It's finally
Oh, I
coming to
beat this game.
PS5.
Okay.
Yeah, this
This game
was on
is
Xbox
freaking good.
already. Price is $19.99 $14.99 on Steam, or just play it on Game Pass. But if you have a PS5 and no Xbox, you can finally play this for $19.99.
Yeah, FMV here.
I recommend this game. This game. Well, originally one of his best games is a director who makes a bunch of FMV games. He made Her Story, which was incredible. I gave that game like a 10 out of 10. And then he made he made some other game that was similar, but Immortality is like he keeps getting pretty good at like found footage games, and yeah, I recommend it. It's dope. You're piecing together a story.
I recommend listening to 3 Bits Opinion because for like 3 years he was telling me to play Plague's Tale and I didn't do it. And then I played it. I was like, oh, this is a fucking great game. So
freaking love it. Yeah, that game is great. I recommend it. If you guys like that type of where you're piecing together the story, you just get a bunch of clips, and then like over time you figure out the story. So it's pretty cool.
Ace Attorney.
This is
Yep.
Apollo Justice Ace Attorney Trilogy, coming to PS4 and Xbox One, Switch, and PC. Price at $49.99. Comes out this Thursday.
Huh.
Ace Attorney is a really popular franchise. I've never played a game in it though.
Objection.
Objection. Yeah, I've never played any of them, but it always looked fun.
Yeah.
I mean, not the way they're showing it now, but
Cool. You got costumes now for it?
Objection. Part in court, man.
You can play it with 6 languages all at the same time. Wow.
So what is this it's piecing together all the
Yeah, it's like a re-release of all of them, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
What do you do?
I have no idea.
think-
I've never played one.
I literally
you
think
inspect evidence and question people and get them to crack.
It's a game that has too much reading and talking that I'm just like, I'm out.
yeah, I've never played it, but pretty much what Fuzzy said. I think you're on the stand and then you are talking to a witness and then you're piecing together the evidence and then if you pay attention enough, you can like be like, no, you broke this bottle at this date or something like that. But I don't know.
Hidden
I never
through
played it.
time, might, and magic, myths and magic.
Yeah, this is coming out Thursday as well to PS5, Series X and S, and Switch. Priced at $12.99.
Oh, where's Waldo?
Pretty much.
Is it literally?
Or I Spy or whatever.
So what you're finding objects?
Finding things, yeah. I'm gonna be honest and say I like shit like this. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Like it's just relaxing stuff.
Like I would play it, but I just never feel like paying for this kind of shit. So it's like,
Yeah,
I'm
it's,
good.
Exactly. Right.
Yeah.
If
If
it was
it's-
in Game Pass, it would be day one.
So you got the menu on the bottom where you like find different objects and you're just basically looking. Okay. Yeah, I would play this. Oh, it says sequel. Okay. Myths and magic. I would not build my own level though. That looks
I
kind of
really want to actually play that. Oh my god.
nice.
Man, Blood Money?
This is finally coming to Switch this Thursday for $24.99.
Such a
it's
good
come out in
game.
like 2006.
Yeah, this game is amazing, bro.
My gosh. What does Nintendo make it
that
look like an
power of the
N64? It's crazy.
I think this was on original Xbox, if I remember.
The ending of that game was
Yeah.
so cool. Like choosing between like heaven and hell or whatever.
I'll be honest, I think it played better, or it looks like it's better graphically on mobile than on Switch, but that's another story. This is Like a Dragon
go.
Infinite Wealth, PS4 and 5, Xbox One, Series X and S, and PC this Friday for $69.99.
I am still trying to comprehend what the fuck kind of game this is, because it's like, I understand it's Yakuza, like a dragon, all that
Animal
stuff,
Crossing.
but it's like
Yeah, Animal
like a
Crossing
dragon, but it looks
Yakuza.
like it has a real story to it as well. Like I
Barracudas
don't
are
know.
Was that supposed to be Danny Trejo, or was it like?
You seen this?
I didn't see. I wouldn't be surprised. I
He's
love
supposed to be in the
Yakuza
game, so it might actually be him. I can't remember.
JB said, "Is it turn-based?" From what we've seen of the actual gameplay, it's pretty much Animal Crossing. I think, which is it's insane to even think about. You can't really tell from any of the trailers, which is like it's gonna surprise some people when they buy.
Just a part of the game, though. Like
I don't know, like, because the reason why I don't know is because they do experiment with their genres. Like their last Yakuza game was like not at all what I expected. It was very turn-based. Where in the past they've done just action type games, so I don't know. We'll see.
it has me intrigued because it's so different, man.
I love
Tekken 8,
Yakuza.
yes.
Ooh, sick.
PS5, Series X and S, and PC for $69.99.
When does this come out?
Mr.
this
Waffle
Friday.
says yes, turn-based. yeah.
God, they're charging $70 for a fucking fighting game.
Yeah. That's what
Yeah.
you gotta do these days. Street Fighter did it. Mortal Kombat did it. I can't remember. if-
Hey, it's
Bro,
the
this
full
should be
story.
like fucking $50.
No, it has a lot of content, though. It's like story
I don't
mode,
care how
all
much
this
fucking
stuff.
content it has. You've been playing this game for fucking 30 years.
Nah,
That
No,
goes to
I
show
might,
there's
I
a
might.
lot of
be $70.
replayability.
Like, it should
Yeah,
all-
no game. I still don't agree with that price point, but I will probably have to be there.
Was that the last one?
I'll dig it.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
the last
that's
one.
Ended it with a bang. Tekken 8, baby. Let's go.
Nice.
I think
Yeah.
that might be the only one I pick up this week.
I really am interested in this Like a Dragon game because like it's just different game systems and stuff. Like I'm really kind of intrigued there. If and also turn-based for me is a plus as well. So I'm
I think
curious.
that'll be a good one for you to jump in, Mav. Like I played Kiwami. I beat Kiwami and I hated that I beat it because it was so good. And then Kiwami 2, and then I'm just playing it through order, in order, whatever. So eventually I'll get up into those games. But if they are mixing turn-based with Yakuza storytelling, I think you'll like it.
Yeah.
So
Well, they like
That's-
Yakuza Like a Dragon was turn-based, and I loved that. I didn't ever finish it because I have a problem with just finishing games in general. But like, I actually really like Yakuza Like a Dragon.
I played Zero Reichi, but I think I started with Kiwami first, and then I wanted to beat Kiwami 2 because I wanted to, and then I was going to Yakuza 0. I was like playing in a weird order, but I think it was Kiwami 2, then 0. I think I'm on 0 now.
So Corey C said the Animal Crossing part of the game is a separate side mode. They just showed it off.
Okay.
Right. Yeah, that's what I was like. I didn't think that was the whole game when they were showing that. Like, I think that I was thinking that was a side thing. But anyway,
Oh, okay. Corey, I just remember seeing something about Animal Crossing for Infinite Wealth. I don't know. Like I remember seeing that somewhere. I
Because
think
that-
it was their last.
it was at, I think,
That
the
last trailer or
Xbox
something.
showcase, or was that something? And like the whole thing
Yeah, it
was
was-
about that. But I remember it was called like something like within it. Like, so I had kind of kept
Yeah.
thinking it was that, but people kept telling me no. This
You're
is,
like on the
all what
beach
game
or-
is. And I'm like, really? I don't think. Anyway,
Yeah, I forgot which dev director it was, but it's not that crazy
Corey
what I'm
says it's
saying
a
based on
Yakuza
their.
game. Like, so,
Okay. Okay.
right. Right on. But it is interesting side stuff, like interesting things in this game that's like different. So I'm interested in that. Anyway, everybody, this has been FSP episode 89, and I hope you all had a blast with us tonight. Appreciate each and every one of you. But let's get everybody out of here. Fuzzy Belvedere, where can people find you, sir?
As always, thanks for having me on. Always a blast to be on here with you guys. Thanks to everybody in the chat. Thanks for hanging out with us and interacting with us. Greatly appreciate it. Hit that like and subscribe if you haven't already. For those that want to hear my rambles and rants on anything gaming, just follow me on the app formerly known as Twitter at fuzzy_Belvedere. And then catch me right back here on Xbox Ultimate on Friday, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Look forward to seeing you guys there.
Right on, bro. Jasper, what about you, sir?
Yo, check it out, Lord Jasper, Twitter, Lord Master Jasper, YouTube, all that fun stuff. Monday, Tuesday, and Friday, right here, 10 o'clock Eastern Time, Fun Speculation Network for FSP, Fun Pop tomorrow night, and Xbox Ultimate on Friday.
Right on.
That's where I'm at. That's what I do. Check it out.
And 3-Bit, what about you, sir?
Everyone can find me on Twitter at i3bit. I'm on this show, and I try to make other shows. And I people keep telling me about this dang video in the chat. Listen, there is no video. There's Mav, a 3D scan of Mav that I was working on in a T pose, and I was gonna have him do some like dumb
Are
thing.
you talking about the one where he made him look like he was Asian?
No, that was like my first try at MetaHuman or whatever. He looked a lot better after that. That was literally like me dropping in MetaHuman and just like trying it for like 5 seconds. Like, I think I can make this look like Mav, but I didn't scan his face or anything. But anyways, maybe one day Mav has to really motivate me to maybe Pony Part 2 for me to make a hate video against Mav. This is busy.
You're a
these
piece
days,
of shit.
but, you know what? I'm working on it right now. Give me a.
You suck. I hate you. You smell like.
What else you got? Like
shit on the bottom of a shoe heel.
Okay, that's pretty good.
You.
I mean, that's
suck
pretty
at
good.
driving.
I do kind. Well, no, I'm good at pretty good
suck
at
driving.
It's not true.
Why are we insulting?
You're a bad game developer. You're horrible at animation. You shouldn't be teaching anybody.
You take that back.
The Aflac duck looked better before you started working on it.
Ooh. Okay.
Come on, are you there now? No, I'm just. I don't mean any of that.
No, it's all good. It's all good. You know what? Maybe I'll release something. We'll see.
There we go.
We'll see. Yeah.
You're gonna make me say a bad word if you keep it.
You're gonna make me
say the F word. I've only said it once in my life,
and I said, "Dang it."
Anyway,
no, I appreciate y'all. Everybody in chat, great show. And I'll see you guys in the next one.
Yeah. I don't mean any of those things, 3-Bit. I feel bad now. You're great.
No,
you should. You're a terrible.
Love you, brother.
Yo, Jasper.
And Jasper, what about you, bro?
I've already done it.
Have you? Okay, my bad. Everybody, come hang out with us tomorrow night on Fun Pop, 10 p.m. Eastern Time. Movies, TV shows, video games, stuff, and more. See you then. Peace out, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye, y'all.
Oh.